Welcome. Someone called me on Instagram. Who calls someone on Instagram?
I mean,
That's crazy. And then it crashed the whole thing. Like, don't do that. If you're an wow, what kind of filter is going on there? Oh well. Oh well. Anyway, we were talking facility, like owning your own
yeah,
facility. And that's obviously a huge thing. Something I'm working on. What'll be next for me is I'm gonna build my own dedicated like event space.
yeah,
So in Illinois, we'll have our own like stage and lights and stuff. We'll do some strongman. We'll do all the other event type stuff I
yeah,
do. There is some things like that. But when we kind of the other thing I was talking about was the pricing. Like you just have to charge such a high price to do a good
yeah.
thing. So you might as well just charge a really high price and then deliver. Like that,
Right.
like just
And that's
charge a
the
higher price. Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
I'm with you on that. Because my first meet, dude, that was my first meet was a part of a festival that we were doing. So it was strongman. It was all in one big facility, middle of the summer, July, mind you. Um, and it was strongman on one side, partially inside and outside. We had Highland Games, and then we had powerlifting. And so the facility that we had, it was, I mean, it could fit it all. But for some reason, the AC just decided not to work, which is crazy because the day before, the AC was crispy, cold. But for some reason, the AC decided it's going to stop working. Number one, this is, and I'm getting all these reports as I'm at the hospital, mind you. And so the AC's not working. Well, why is it not working? I don't know. It feels like it's been turned off. It's not even blowing. Okay, cool. So then I get another one. I mean, because you have to have your little spies everywhere. One of my spies text me, hey coach, by the way, the water that they brought in water, the water that they're bringing in, they've gone up on the price of water. I'm like, what? So they're turning off the AC, and the water that was $1 is now $3. Now it's $4. Okay. For them, they're like, well, we want to be able to sell liquor we want to be able to sell liquor and alcohol at this thing, whatever, whatever. I mean, well, as far as, I care, I don't care. But I'm letting the guy know, like, well, as far as I know, you're not gonna get many. I know on the powerlifting, there's not gonna be many people that are gonna try to, they're gonna try to buy beer, dude. Like they're pure to lift. It's 1,000 degrees in there. You know what I mean? That's not a good combination. So he's like, well, we'll sell waters, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I don't, in my opinion, I don't think those liquor sales were going as well as they thought it would. I mean, who's trying to get drunk at 9 in the morning, dude? You know what I mean? Like, especially if they're getting ready to lift,
Oh, okay. Okay.
um,
I was like,
so, like, like it just wasn't adding up. And then all of a sudden, you get middle of the afternoon, the AC turns off, but then they're gouging the price of water. I'm like, what are we doing here? So, I, I go have the baby. She's super super healthy. Like she's born like 9:15 that morning. You know what I mean? I spent all day, and my wife is like, "Hey, you gotta get out of here. You gotta go take care of this stuff." I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So get over there, and I'm asking my questions, and I'm not getting the answers that I want, and then I'm like, I'm going to the I go to the gate. You got to go to that gate, and I'm checking the gate. I'm like, wait a minute. So again, I'm really weird about making sure that the numbers have to match. They just have to match.
sure.
So I'm looking at what the money that's coming in or that's come in at this point versus the people that are in the crowd. And mind you, I literally have a person sitting in the crowd counting the people as they come in and sit on our side. So I know how many people. You know what I mean? Not only is he's writing it down, but he's also got his little clicker ticker. I'm like, wait a minute. So this is matching up and this is matching up, and the amount of people that I'm seeing, because like I'm like every 20 minutes take a picture of the crowd. Every 20 minutes take a picture of the crowd and send it to me. So I'm counting the people along with them. You know what I mean? And I'm not don't get me wrong, I'm not a micromanager, but that was my first meet, so I wanted to be on point with everything, so that everything matched up.
Well, especially
And
when someone else is manning your door.
absolutely.
Like you have,
Well, here's
like I
well, here's
would,
the thing.
I'd have my own person selling the tickets for fuck's
Yeah,
sake.
like here's the thing. OG, originally I had my own people at the door. They go, no, well, since our facility, we'll have somebody at the door because, like, the people don't know how to use the machine to charge. I'm like, well, Well, that's super simple. We'll
Red
just
flag,
charge
red
everybody
flag,
as they,
red flag,
yeah,
red flag.
exactly. And so I'm like, okay, cool. All right, whatever. So my again, I'm really weird about it. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, that's fine. I said, well, I have my people there just to make sure, you're good. All right, that's fine, that's fine. I was like, and just letting you know, we will be recording. Everybody comes in for safety's sake. And the guys, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, we record everything for the sake of safety because you just never know who comes in, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, well, we're not comfortable with that. That's fine by me. So I was like, well, I'm going to record, regardless of the fact, like, I just made sure that I had, the long story short, I just had to make sure that I had my facts straight. These guys ended up trying to short us like over $3,000. And, I'm like, all right, cool. So that's what we're doing. Cool. And since then, there was like lawsuit stuff. I mean, because again, it wasn't just me that was a part of it. I just happened to catch it because I try to be on my P's and Q's about it. But like um the guys the guys whose banner we were under, they actually approached the facility, and so they they're still hashing this thing out. This has been years, dude. At this point,
Wait,
I've done
wait, it's still ongoing?
yeah, man, because there was a bunch of other stuff that was going on,
Oh, okay.
all the people broke our pipes and they did this, they messed the facility. Like, nah, man, we walked the facility before and after, and everything was signed off, and they tried to double back. So you know how that gets. So and it's just it's a battle of the deep pockets, and that's fine because the guy whose banner we were under, he has super deep pockets, and I mean, I guess these guys have deep pockets, so it's more of a a pissing contest between those two. I'm like, hey,
So
go for it. I'm gonna
this
live my
has
life,
to
bro.
be like going back to the USAPL then.
Yep. Yeah. Crazy, right? So,
For
you
three
know,
grand? Jesus.
three
I mean, there's more. You said there was
three
more.
grand
You said
plus a
there's
bunch
more
of
to it.
other stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
3 grand was just
yeah.
what they shorted us at the gate.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, and then it was like something along the lines of like the Highland guys broke our concrete when they were throwing, so we got to get the concrete replaced, and this, I'm like, what? The foundation was shifted because of moving trucks. Bro, there was only one moving truck. What are we talking about here? So it's a bunch of stuff, So I'm like, you guys, y'all got it. And like I said, the two guys that are going at it, you know what, they got the pockets for it. I'm sitting back with my popcorn enjoying, like, hey, let me know when I'm gonna get my $3,000 back. If not, no big deal. Um, I just think like with meats, and again, kind of like what you said with meats like that, because I'm pretty sure we had like a little over 150 entries, and there was no AC. Everybody was, oh my God, people were damn near passing out. I had to, send one of my buddies to my house, like to literally break in my house to get a bunch of industrial fans that I have in my garage to make sure that at least my people, didn't pass out. But I just that was my first experience as a meat director. I'm like, holy crap, is this how it always is? And the people that were there that have hosted meets, have done meets, like, believe it or not, this was a really good meet aside from it being hot. Number two, they're not always like this. They're I swear they get easier. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So my next meet was a cakewalk compared to that. And I try to I think, I like what you do in terms of your tier of meats. I think that's dope. But I know for me, I don't think I can do that. You know what I mean? Like, just because we're at right now, as far as just the growth of the Fed, like I'm averaging maybe 40-45 people per meet, and I'm starting. Over the last couple of years, I'm seeing a few of the same faces. I do get a lot of people that do fly in now. I actually got a couple that flew in from
Well,
the
so
country of Jordan.
a problem. And not that it's a problem because I'm
Mhm.
pro competition,
Yeah.
but you're in a really. I mean, you're in the Austin area, or are you all over
Yeah, I'm
Texas?
right between Austin and San Antonio,
I
so I'm
mean,
in the hill
you
country.
just have you're sandwiched right between game day and
Yeah.
TSS, and it's just like it is. That's one hell of an uphill battle, and
Hmm.
so I'm the person that's like, hey, I guess I gotta level up,
Yeah.
right? To do better, and that does become more difficult, especially given those two brands.
Yeah.
Um, so it
It's
could
just,
be a little
well, I
tough.
mean, here in Texas, man, it's just such a, you are sandwiched with two meats, but I mean,
There probably
in no
aren't
disrespect
enough
to
meats,
either,
right? There
huh?
probably aren't even enough, right?
No, yeah, I mean, it's still super heavy USAPL down here. So, I mean, you're
That's
still gonna
gonna
have those.
change. That's
You're
gonna
still,
change so
yeah.
rapidly.
Well, you're gonna have those TSS meets that are gonna put up. They're gonna put up 100, 200 lifters easy every single time they open up. They're gonna, and that's fine. I mean, drug free powerlifting, I'm all for it. Doesn't matter what fed, don't care. As long as you're lifting drug free, you're taking care of yourself. Awesome, go for it. But with the powerlifting America meets and everything, I mean, they reached out, hey, we don't have any meets down there. You think you can do a meet? Like, cool. So I mean, I did the first 3 or 4 meets. Game day got in the game, thank God. You know what I mean? So I mean, they helped break it up. But then at the same time, are there many Dallas meets? Not really. Are there many Houston meets? Not really. So what? Shout out to Marty because I think he's gonna try to get those things
Yeah, yeah.
rolling up in the Dallas area. So my
Does
thing has been all
he
right.
own
Well,
a
cool.
gym? Does he own
So
a
what?
gym there? Does he own a gym?
No, no, no. But Marty's he's much like me. You just have access to a lot of people that want to put on meets.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, and you know how it is. There's been a lot of gyms out there that want to put on meets, that want to have people involved, but a lot of times they just don't. They
They
just don't know
suck.
how to do it. Number one or number two, they just don't want to be bothered with it. They'd rather just have the facility, charge at the door. You put on the meet, put our name on the banner. We're good to go. Fine, let's do that. I'll be a mercenary. I don't care. So I got a great relationship with the TSS people, the TSS Houston people. So I try to put a meet on in Houston. For me, I try to make sure that at least in Texas, that as many areas of the state are represented, that people have an opportunity to have a meet. So if anybody reaches out like, hey man, could you put a meet on here? That's fine. I guess the one good thing I guess about not necessarily owning a gym is you can pretty much go wherever you want. I mean, even when you have a gym, you can own, you can go wherever you want. But for me, it's always been easier just being able to like, hey man, I think this would be an awesome place to do a meet. Let's do it over here. With these Texas State Championships, the first one I did was in shout out to Gene Bell, by the way, who suggested that we need a Texas State Championship. Um, the first one we did was in San Antonio. This last one we did was in Austin at the Alico facility, which I absolutely love. Definitely
Yeah.
plan on doing another one there. Next year, I mean, we might do it in Houston. I don't know. We may do it in Dallas. Haven't really decided, but I like the idea of having a state championship somewhere in a different part of the state every year.
Well,
Um,
I search far and wide for venues and stuff. I
mhm,
know you can rent this outdoor area in front of AT&T Stadium
mhm.
where the Cowboys played. Like there's
Yeah,
this whole open, and it's not really that expensive. It's like, I mean, it is, but it's not.
yeah,
Um, you just charge. You can charge more for
yeah.
tickets if it's there, so you wouldn't really have a problem.
Right.
But like it's this outdoor area right in front of the big glass window, and
Yeah.
like I saw it. I talked to the rep, and they have like 2 big screens and stuff. I'm like, oh, that would be so
Right.
cool. But yeah, in Texas, there's so much stuff, so much.
There's so many. I mean, and I'm very, very fortunate. I mean, in the Dallas area, I have so many ideas of stuff that I want to do in the Dallas area, but I also try to, it's not really one of those things where you want to step on toes, but it's one of those things where, um, you don't want to necessarily go into someone's area that is trying to put on meets, without letting them know, hey man, I'm looking at doing something here. I'd like to do something here. And again, it's for me, it's just about respecting of the area, make so like with Marty, I know that Marty has some ideas. He's got some plans for that area. So I mean, if that were a case, because I've seen a couple. There's a venue there that I really, 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 want to try to rock with, and I go with my sister all the time to watch the Rangers play. I think it's like Texas Live or something like that. I love it. I think it would be an amazing venue to
Is
put on.
that the one in? Yeah, it's the hall. It's a big arena.
Almost, yeah. So
Grand
let me see.
Prairie. Is it
Yeah,
Grand Prairie?
yeah. Let me see. Texas Live. Oh, might. Um, and it's such a God, it's such a nice.
Yep,
Um,
the Texas
y-
Trust.
yeah, and then there's
Hold on.
another.
This.
No, go, look up. Literally, just look up Texas Live,
I love a good venue.
and I'm telling you right now, when you see it, you're like, okay, I get what you're doing. I get what you're doing.
Oh
Go, take,
yeah. Oh
yeah, oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I fucked this shit up.
So it's dude,
Look at that.
I
With the
guarantee. Yep,
jumbotron and the
yep,
2 sides in the
yep,
stage. Wait, is that
yep,
put a stage
yep.
there? Oh,
and you check
fuck.
out that events part and look at like what they, man, I'm telling you right now,
Fuck. That's
imagine the possibilities.
with the
As soon as
bar,
I knew you saw it as soon as I
with
saw
the
your face light up
bar.
when it pulled
Let's
up.
go. Wait,
Yeah,
hold on.
so
I'm
I've
looking
got
at it.
my eye on that, man, and that's really something I want to look at doing. And it's one of those things where Texas is so Texas with the weather, so it's like, all right, might have to you roll the dice a little bit with the weather, but I mean, I have my eye on that. But that's one of those things I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to book, a year or two in advance. Uh, there's so many different awesome venues here. I just
Oh, it's part of their like. Okay, it's part of their
yeah
multi-use area by the stadium.
yeah
Well, so here's what you do. So here's what I would say. I'd hit them up. I'd be like, hey, I want to run an event here. I'm going to bring 500 people who are going to buy beer
yeah
and and stuff. Just give me the space for
yeah
free, and like guarantee them a minimum or something. There's no
yeah
reason why you as a business wouldn't want to take something like that on. It's not like they're going to be
absolutely
busy when the Rangers aren't playing.
true story.
Oh, this is sick.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, this. Wait, hold on. No, that's in Houston. No, no.
Everybody,
There's this other venue that I'm like, that's sick too.
there's one that I really, oh man, I don't even know. Oh, they did a meet there. They didn't do it exactly on this. Oh, what is it called? It's in Dallas, and it's literally in the same area, but it's where they have all the championships, the world championships, all the gaming world championships. Um, and it is, oh my gosh, it's an awesome spot too. But it's like I said, I think with meet directing, it's one of those things where if you start falling in love with it, much like we both have, you start seeing venues and you start seeing the possibilities. Because you want to give them something to remember, but at the same time, it's like another. I feel like it's a Boy Scout sash. Like it's like another notch, and you can another little
Exactly.
badge.
That's exactly what it is. Because I'm like, it's just what's
Yeah,
next. I've already
yes,
done one thing, so what's
yes,
next, right? What's next is I need to do I've done 150 lifter 3 day
yeah.
800 spectator meet. What's next is I got to do like 1,000
Yeah, you want
spectators.
a
Like,
thousand. I want to,
yeah.
I've done a mid venue. Now I want to do a bigger venue. I want to do
I
I
think
want to do a theater. You
Right,
know,
right. I
I
think the missing piece that's in order to execute something like this, what's missing is that spectator
yeah,
experience.
yes,
It's giving people a reason to want to come that doesn't have to do with
that
powerlifting, right?
part.
Because we have to get people who are either sports fans or are people who just want to be
Right.
entertained a reason to come to our events. And so you see every sporting event you've ever been to, there's a kids zone, right? There's a kids zone. They've
Yeah,
got inflatables. They've got stuff for the kids to do. I
yeah,
think that's probably something we could play on a lot more. And when I see things like this that you're showing me, I'm like, okay, that's where you set up your
yeah,
kids zone, right?
yeah,
That's where you set up all this stuff.
yeah.
Like, I like that's what and I think everyone, if you're listening, I mean, me and the Cargills, I had Andrew Cargill Jr. on, and we talked about um, how we can create these experiences, and,
Absolutely.
and everyone's on the same page. You get a mobile bar, you get a couple food trucks, you get some live music, and you start there, right? And
Yeah,
then you add from there. You just go look at what other sports do, and then add from
yeah.
there. I
I
think.
we can do our own spin. And I think at the end of the day, it's it's one of those sports I can say as far as our sports go, like with a lot of sports. I mean, it's one of those sports where it can't always be the same people, that are willing to contribute to the growth of the sport. Um, and you're gonna have your mainstays that really lean it like you're gonna have your cornerstones. That's just this is just my opinion. You're gonna have your cornerstone. You're gonna have your same, in an area, 4 or 5 people that constantly are the people that you go to that want to contribute to the growth of the sport. But there has to be some way somehow that more people want to get involved. I mean, that's the only way
Well,
anything
so
grows.
so here I have the thing. So I am not. I've been in the powerlifting world for 2.5 years. That's
Mhm.
it. I have not been in the powerlifting world for very long, and I got I really got into powerlifting because I'm an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
right? I'm an entrepreneur first. I'm not even a gym person first. I'm business first. When I saw the first meet I ever ran sell 120 entries at $100 a pop, I was like, I'm in,
Yeah.
right? Sign me up. 12 grand. If you can make 12 grand on a weekend, sign. Now, there's a lot of expenses. It's a lot
Yeah.
of work. And so, hell yeah, I deserve. I mean, I pay my staff really well and stuff. Hell yeah, I just, as a meet director, you deserve to make the money. So I think the area that we're really missing out on is reaching out to
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, right? We don't need to reach out to gym. Maybe we reach out to gym owners who are entrepreneurs, but I think if we reach out to some business people, some people who own event
Yeah.
spaces, if we can talk to people who are business people and we can make a case for you should invest in running these meets because you're going to make money
Yeah.
that like and you deserve to make. I mean,
It's
there's
about,
no way.
well, I mean, you're gonna get money, you're gonna get exposure. As far as, and as far as I know, and you can chime on this as well. You're going to get out what you put into it. If you get as many eyes as possible to see, like, what, this meet is going to be awesome, then people are going to go. No, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some amazing meets that go on that people never know about because people just didn't know about it. And you might just happen upon it. There's some meets that honestly they're no more special than any other meet, but the they put the word out so well, and people just like, like, oh my god, this is the place to be, and they go like, oh, it's just another meet. But you know what, there was some buzz about it, so they wanted to be a part of it. As far as a lot of these places, as places go, I mean, like, you're pretty much going to do the, for the most part, you're going to do a meet at a gym of some sort. It's not necessarily going to be any more different than you doing it at any other gym, but it's, kind of like you're saying, it's the bells and whistles that one can add to really making an experience. Like, okay, cool. I'm at a gym. I'm at a 10,000 square foot gym, and I'm watching this person lift on a 10 by 10 thing of plywood with with a backdrop behind it. Okay, cool. That happens every
Yeah,
weekend, 30, 40, 50 times every weekend. But what's the point of differentiation between what they did over here versus what they did over here? Well, shit, you know what? It wasn't a gym, but you know what? Outside, dude, they had food trucks galore. There's some stuff I've never eaten before that were out there. There, the guy that was on the microphone was absolutely electrifying. They had cool little grab bags. It's just like it's the little things. Like, how can I just my little things to be different from another person's little things, or how can I add any little things at all?
yeah.
And
Let me, I
so
mean, let me give 10 cents for anyone listening who's thinking about directing or directing a meet. The best thing you can add that costs absolutely nothing is to give your lifters third attempt songs. Every third attempt,
absolutely,
every third attempt squat, every third attempt bench, every third attempt deadlift.
yeah,
This is what we do. We have the MC or someone at the table. They hold a tablet, and then either the handler or the lifter themselves, because the lifter is usually locked in.
yeah,
The handler can go, "This is the song we want." You can
yeah,
pick the song you want in the moment. We play the song for them.
yeah.
Depending on the song, like if the song can get the crowd, if you play the right song, the crowd gets
The crowd's
lit.
gonna get up. Yeah,
Yeah, like you just got to play that right song, and it's
that's
awesome.
all it takes.
And it
And the
costs
crazy thing is,
nothing.
it costs you nothing. You can turn honestly, you can turn out half the lights in the room. Where only the half, that one half. If you have, if you have, a light board that is, your lights, you have to click, click, click. You know what? You turn off the back half of so the crowd is in the dark. But it's like there's some things that you can do that don't cost you a thing. But it's just okay. If the one thing that I do know as far as a lifter is, I want my special moment to be special. And it doesn't have to be anything super super crazy. Just, what, if you have an announcer that knows what they're doing, somebody that's on the microphone, like, hey, you know what, make sure that third attempt is a special moment for them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know there's things that can be done at meets that are just points of differentiation from any other meet, just because it's that moment in time where you make them feel like they're the only person in that room that exists, even for that 1 minute that they have to walk up there and try to move this weight. That is just, that has to be done. I mean, I'm a firm believer in that. I mean, and I'm usually that person at the like, hey, what do you want? You want a song? What do you want? Yeah, I want this and this. All right, cool. Let me get it for you. It's simply that simple. Now, again, if you don't have access to music, there's some gyms you go to, they have their
Okay,
playlist.
hold on. If you don't have access to music, you can't run a meet. You just can't. You can't. No, that's bare minimum. A speaker system is a couple $100.
This is
Like
true,
you like it.
but
That's
there
bare
there are
minimum.
some venues that are completely like they are so they're stuck on, hey, we have a playlist, we'd like for you guys to use this to stay on this playlist because it's family
Oh,
friendly, whatever. And
okay,
with
yeah,
yeah,
sure.
it
I
with
thought you
those,
meant like, yeah. So if you're running a meet though, like you got to have music. Like if you can't do third attempts for that reason, that's fine. I
yeah,
know the IPS has a whole copyright
yeah.
thing that's
Yeah,
annoying
there's
as
there's
fuck.
there's some places like you got to go with what they have and that's it. But the one thing that you can do is make sure that whoever's on that microphone, even if it has to be you, like, hey, you know what, let's make
I've
some
never
noise.
emceed anything, so I wouldn't know. So
Oh man, dude, I will hop on a microphone in a heartbeat. And again, it's just providing them with that opportunity to feel like they're the only person in that room, and that all eyes are on them when they lift. And I just, I will say this, man. I'm very, 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 very blessed in the fact that I get to do meets, with Special Olympians. I get to do meets with, um, with with adaptive lifters. So I get to see all sides of this sport, man. I mean, these guys and girls they're getting ready to qualify for the Special Olympics. Or they're getting ready to qualify for the Olympics. Because you do have the adaptive bench in Olympics. So I mean, you get to see any and every type of athlete. And the one thing that I took from all that is when their third attempt comes up, it doesn't matter who's yelling for them, as long as that coach is yelling for them, as long as their competitors are yelling for them, they will lift whatever you put in front of them. So I was like, what can I do to make, to bring this to every meet that I have? Well, it's as simple as like, all right, you know what? Again, if we don't have music, sometimes you don't have access to that playlist. All right, how about this? We're gonna change it up a little bit. Let's turn down the music a little bit so when that third attempt comes up, it's all the crowd. Let's go crowd, and
right.
and it's you let them know like, hey, you know what, music's going down, it's all you guys, let's go. And people going nuts for whomever's up there lifting. And again, there's it's cool because it's free game, kind of like you said. This is free 99.
Yeah,
To
and
be
I
able,
like to start there because then people can't
yeah,
object, right? Very few objections, and then I can be like, "Are you serious? Like, really? Like, that's really like." You're really not going to do that? Like, what's the reason? What's
yeah,
the rationale? Like, I know there are very rare circumstances, like you're talking about, where a venue has to have a family-friendly
yeah,
playlist. That's rare, but those are very small, very far,
very,
few
yeah,
and far between. So it's like you start there, and then you can get a little more complex as you go.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and it's like with anything, the more experience you have with it, the more used to it you get. Then you start really, you want to push it a little bit. You want to push you. I mean, there's nothing that you do that I can think of in life that you don't want to get better at. You know what I mean? And so you want to get better as a meet director. You want to make it a better experience every single time, so that you have this reputation. Like, oh, dude, oh, it's one of his meets. Hell yeah, I'm
Oh yeah,
signing up
I
for it.
mean, I mean, I tell people like I'm not competing against anyone locally for my meets. Like no one
Yeah,
does better. No, I'm literally pushing my own envelope. What things can I do that are nuts? Like what
yeah,
things can I do? Like because I mean, so like here, like let's play the game. Like let's do a list. Like all the things that like you want as a competitor. You want. I just think about. I just make a big
yeah.
list. Like okay, if I wanted to make the most awesome meet ever, I would have all competition equipment.
Absolutely.
Check. Check. Done. I would want a cool stage design. I have the coolest stage. I will just say that easily. Um, like you would want lights, you would want music, you would want. So one thing that I was wrong about is I thought lifters wanted like a 24 lifter session, but it turns out that that 24 lifter section actually kind of kills the vibe
Yeah.
a little. So I've started pushing that up to like 30, 35,
Hmm.
and it's just been a lot better. The lifters don't really care. It's only us, the
Yeah.
staff, that like get mad. Like, and it doesn't matter what we think. We're getting paid.
Yeah.
We don't care. Because I actually did a meet in Atlanta and it was awesome. It was 42 lifters, but like the
Yeah.
atmosphere was crazy and it really wasn't too bad. Um, but yeah, you can do all that stuff. I do. I have a big 5 gallon jug and I pour Gatorade. I make Gatorade for the athletes.
Yeah.
They can just drink there. I have another cooler for water. Actually, this meet coming up, I'm gonna do like monsters in a cooler. So one case of monsters,
Yeah.
35 bucks. I'm putting it in a cooler. If someone wants one, take one. When it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
And I think it's like the car dealership. So if you ever go to a car dealership, the first
Yep.
thing they're going to ask you,
Some
can I get you anything to drink? Can I get you anything to drink?
We'll get you a little bit
And
water.
they will beat the fuck out of you to get you something to drink, because once they give you something to drink, it's everything in life is transactional.
Yep.
If they give you just a bottle of water, now you're going to feel a little beholden to them, right?
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a good thing. It's not nefarious, but I thought about that. I'm like, oh, how can I improve the meat? And I'm like, oh, it's going to have that effect as well. Perfect, right? Perfect.
So did you see it? We said thoughts on people dressing up in costumes.
Oh yeah, I do want to answer. So at local meets, it's awesome. I've dressed up several times. I love it. National meets, I don't think so. And so the reason I say no is because I like to look at there's $5 billion professional sports leagues that have a working model, right? It's a model that works.
Yeah.
So rather than try and invent some model, like, we can just copy what they do.
Absolutely.
No other sport has that. So all the MCs at other events, like when I MC'd Bench Worlds and I MC'd Junior Nationals, I do a very like boisterous announcer voice. I call out the name, bars loaded. John! And I just say the name and that's it. I don't do any, because that's just not what we do. Now, I did have an idea. I know who you're talking about when you talk about people in costume, okay? Gino's awesome. He's hilarious. What Gino should do is come out at the beginning of the meet, do the thing I do with the rock, paper, scissors, do some goofy shit, and then go take pictures in the crowd.
Yeah. Well, like, just you don't, in our sport, he's a celebrity now, so.
Yeah. But what I would say is he's great. He's great for the sport, but he doesn't need to be around the platform. He doesn't need to be during the actual event. He needs to be in the crowd, taking pictures with kids, talking to people, shooting the shit. That's his role. We literally talked about that at Bench Worlds. It was like
he's celebrity status now. I mean, here's the thing. There's a point where, and this is not a dig. This is not a dig.
No, it isn't.
But there's a point in, especially in powerlifting, where in any competition, let's say, where you're the MC, you're on the microphone. Here's the thing. You're the only voice in the room that anyone hears. You have the biggest voice in the room. So there's a point where you can either contribute to the atmosphere or you can take away from the atmosphere. With Gino, he's such a huge personality. He is, I'm telling you right now, there's meets that I know for a fact that had Gino not done his thing, that I definitely wouldn't have moved that weight. I know for a fact. Like my first 666 squat, I want Gino to say 666. I wanted him to say that. I mean, there was no way. And I had my wife go, make sure Gino says that. But there's also times, and Gino will tell you.
No, here's the thing. So there's another issue, not to be a total silly goose, but like, we're Americans. We have our culture is a certain way, right? Mm-hmm. Other cultures, especially internationally, when you invoke the number of the devil, are not happy.
No, they're not happy.
So like you just have to be kind of like, it's funny, it is, but like, and I'm not that sensitive. I promise. Promise. But you have to be, dude. I literally remember one of the referees like started like crying. Like I was like. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be doing this. Yeah. Like, just like, I mean, but not to be, and so, but that then distracts from the event, right? It distracts from the
So, and that's the thing, on that local level, go for it.
Great.
I say go crazy on the local level, because there's a point where I want you to contribute to the atmosphere of this.
You have to, because the lifting won't carry the event.
No, it won't. Now with the from national up, you go, you know what I mean? Because this is what this guy's known for. You let him do his thing. You let him do his thing for the intro and everything else. Thank you guys for coming out, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And then you let him go in the crowd and Obama himself out. Take as many pictures.
And then during that break, come back out, do some more fun stuff.
And let it, because that's what you do normally as an MC. You go and, in those breaks in between, you let him just do his thing. But during the lifting, there has to be a point of, all right, there has to be a bit of formality, because all focus needs to go from, this guy just got us hyped up, ready to roll. Now we're not bored. Now we're not sleeping. Now we're not, we're not yawning. Now we're up, juice to the form. We're ready to watch more lifting, and boom, let's get him because we're going to use him as a spotlight to focus back on the lifters doing their thing.
Yeah.
And the lifters. And here's the thing: the lifters are going to do the exact same thing they've done every single time for damn near 100 years. We're going to pick weight up, we're going to put it down, we're going to walk out. Pick up weight, put it down, walk out. That's it. The same thing over and over and over. The only variant in all of that is you have an MC that keeps us focused in. And I'm telling you right now, there's no one better than Gino when it comes to getting anybody focused on their words. You know what I mean? But the thing is, it's when he speaks, all ears, all eyes point to wherever he's going, whatever he's
Right.
talking about. So, if it's in the middle of lifting, I'm not going to be paying attention to what's going on because I'm going to be watching this guy walking around, this 6'5" dude walking around in a pirate suit that's killing it, on the microphone. Now, if you can, and that's the thing, there's a way to use him,
Yeah,
to use
exactly.
guys like him in
I
their
was literally
strengths
going to
because
say.
this guy can get an arena rolling. Like, why would you not use him
Right.
to keep all eyes focused on the meat? And that's the thing, I don't know that it's a thing where like, oh, you just don't have Gino with the meats because he's a distraction. He's not a distraction, but rather he's a powerful tool that could be
Yes.
used to get everyone focused on what's going on. Let me tell you, there is not a meet that Gino has ever done that I don't remember being in. Any meet that I've ever been in that Gino was there, he's the first person I looked for. Like, I never felt like any Arnold that I ever did, I didn't feel like it was the Arnold if Gino wasn't on that microphone. No disrespect to anybody else that emceed it, but it felt different when Gino had that mic in his hands. And so, that there was he had his little thing with IPF and everything, so he wasn't doing a lot of stuff. Those meets didn't feel the same. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
Gino has his moments where he kind of stretches out, and that's fine. But I mean, when he speaks, it was just different for me. So,
Well,
I
I
know
mean,
a lot of
I
lifters that
remember
feel the way.
the first national meet I ever went to. I was like, who the fuck is this pirate guy? He's hilarious, right? And
Yeah,
it was fine because it was a 4-platform thing, so you're not paying attention. If there's 4
right,
platforms, there might as well be
right.
none because you're not going to pay attention to them. And so it was a very entertaining
Yeah,
thing. And so I think, and we're both on the same page with this. I mean, it's just you have to manage it properly, right?
yeah,
It needs to
man.
be managed properly. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. Yeah, like
and uh, my thing is this, and I'll leave it alone after this. My thing is, we're human beings, and Gino's just as human as anybody else. And I feel like if you tell me, I want you to go out here, MC this thing, MC the hell out of it, man. I want this thing to be rocking. Okay, I got that. Make sure people are entertained. Okay, I got you. And that's it. You don't give me any guidelines. You're gonna tell me like, okay, fine. Like, there's no guidelines to it. Go out there, make sure everybody's good. All right, fine. And then when I go out there and I go nuts, then you get pissed at me. Well, there was no rules. There were no
yes.
parameters.
Well, yeah. I mean, when they asked me to MC, like we're on fucking CBS Sports, and I'm like, there's no
There's
script.
no
There's no
script.
like,
Yeah,
there's no standard operating procedure.
absolutely.
There's like, I have that at my local meets. I have a script for my local meets.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
I can't like this is world. Like, what's going
yeah.
on?
And I think there's, at least, before you walk, like, hey, by the way, make sure you don't say this, don't say this, don't this. Hey, try not to walk in there. Like, I mean, there's 4 or 5 rules. There's a standard 4 or 5 rules with pretty much any production. Like, you know what?
Right.
There's some things, you don't get away with the shot. You know what I mean? Like, don't turn your back to the crowd. Like, little things. Just
Yes.
make sure
Yes.
those things are written down. Make sure those are set. And then, you know what?
Well,
Awesome. Have at it.
I don't think during the meet the MC, like every other sport, needs to be up in the press box.
Yeah.
Like that, but like obviously we don't have a press box in powerlifting, but like you
Right.
need to be at the table,
Yeah.
calling out names, like not on the platform.
Yeah.
Um,
I will say, I mean, because you did an awesome job. I mean, anybody that was at Worlds and got to see you do your thing, like you did an awesome. I remember, I came to you, do a hell of a job. That was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the cool thing about our sport is that you know, you're right. We don't necessarily have a press box. We have the jury table. We have the scores table. We have parts where, I mean, the live stream table. There's parts where, the MC can be where they're, I like powerlifting in that our MC almost has to have hand on the shoulder type. Like, I want them to be involved because, I mean, what
well,
the
that's
cool
why
thing is
I
when
like
you
sitting
get
by
to,
the jury table
yeah,
because I literally I like it because it's cool because I get to listen to what they say.
yeah,
But like,
exactly,
and then I can go, hey, because here's what happens. So the jury gets a lot of fucking shit.
yeah,
They get so much shit.
a
I
lot,
sit there, they get so much. So here's what happens. So the jury overturns a lot of lifts, and here's
They
why.
do.
So what happens is it'll be a 2-to-1 good lift, and the side referee will say to the jury they had their heel up on a bench.
Yeah.
If the jury looks at the replay and the heel's up, they're going to
They got
overturn the lift.
to
It's
overturn it.
obvious. It's clear
That's
and
the
obvious. They're
rule.
not. It's the rule. Like, and
It's the
so
absolute rule. Yeah.
people
And
lose their
and
shit.
that's where
And so here's the problem: the reason people lose their shit is because it's not communicated.
yeah.
If I go, the reason the lift was no good is because the lifter had their heel 3 inches off
Yeah.
the ground.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously we don't have a robust enough infrastructure yet to like tell the live stream commentators that. Like,
Yeah.
we'll get there for sure.
Well, you know
But like,
what? But there's a point where, I can't say because I watched it do it. A good MC finds a way, and mind you, this is not a knock at anybody like this. We're on you now. We're not on any other MC.
okay,
But
good,
a good
good.
MC they find a way. There's that moment where like, what the hell happened? Like, did they just overturn that? There's that moment of silence in between that a good MC will find that silent pocket, and boom, this is where I step in because there's always that awkward moment of silence. Like, wait, they overturned it? What? Overturned happened because like the replay showed that left heel was up a couple of inches. There's your why.
Well, and so
You know what
that
I
was
mean?
the difference between junior nationals. I sat by the jury table and I
Uh
got
huh.
that information, and
Yeah.
then at IPF Worlds, I wasn't by the jury table,
Yeah.
obviously. And it was a little different because
Yeah.
it'd be like, okay, what happened? What was the deal? What was the
Yeah.
deal? And so there was a bit of a disconnect
Yeah.
there.
And
But I
so
think
I
I
mean,
think we're going to improve on that.
yeah.
I'm not
I
worried.
mean, and a lot of it's just communication. Whereas if I don't think it's out of the ordinary, or it shouldn't be out of the ordinary. Like, all right, well, you have one juror. That juror is, clearly communicates to, to the at least to the MC, like, hey, heels up. All right, cool. You know what I mean? But if you're already near them, I mean, and again, there should be an area, at least, for those higher level meets, there should be an area where the MC has to be near that jury table because you have to have a jury. It's a part of having a big meet. It has to happen. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily always have to have an MC, but there's a 9 out of 10 chance, 9.9999 out of 10 chance that you're gonna have a really good MC there. So you know what? That's just make it like a written rule that if that juror that they have a juror that clearly communicates with the MC what the ruling
Well,
was if there's an
I
overturning.
think the juries should just be mic'd for transparency.
Dude,
I think
dude, I
just like
wish.
the NFL, just like the NFL. The NFL, when they make a call, it's loud. The entire stadium
Yeah,
can hear it. They know exactly what the call was. There's
true.
no reason that fucking Robert Keller shouldn't have a microphone pack on and go, or Bill Clayton shouldn't have a microphone pack on and go. The call on the platform was this. We're overturning the call
I
because of this.
wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't even go that far. I wouldn't give them. I wouldn't mic them up at all. I would just put a microphone in front of them, old school style, old principal school style. Just press a button. Juror, we overturned it, blah blah, because of
Done.
whatever. Let it
Yes,
go.
exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Yes.
yeah. Like I mean, just because this is my fear that there is enough disconnect between there's enough disconnect between technology and those that don't know technology enough to like, what, do we want to keep a hot mic on Robert Keller
Absolutely
or Bill Clayton,
not. No,
and then
absolutely not.
they get pissed at each
I've
other.
sat there. No,
Yeah,
I've sat there.
and
We're
here's
not putting the
the
hot
thing,
mic
people
on
don't
there.
understand, like that juror table gets spicy, dude.
They're
Like, it
so
gets
funny.
spicy and
It's
they're
it's so
hilarious. But I mean,
entertaining.
yeah.
Yes.
So no, but I agree. I mean, there's a such a high value added by having a solid MC. And I mean, it's somebody they wrote like Gino is the goat. And he's the goat for a reason. I mean, Gino was doing stuff as an MC in powerlifting meets that I've never thought of before. I mean, and when they brought him on, it really changed. It really changed the feel of powerlifting. I think it ushered us into a an age where, like, you know what, there can be entertainment in this.
Yes.
I mean, and Gino was one of those, is, I should say, one of those that really, brought a light to, like, what, powerlifting can be very entertaining if you have the right person behind the microphone. Because there's just a lot of power behind having the biggest voice in the room. But having the biggest voice in the room that can whip people up into a frenzy, that's a special talent.
Well, I think that's uniquely valuable to the USAPL right now because they're running, frankly, meets with much less talent
Yeah,
but much higher volumes of athletes. So
absolutely.
they need that because the athletes are not going to carry those events. But if you
No.
can make them kind of a fun
Yeah.
celebration of powerlifting,
Yeah.
you're able to.
No, I mean, the one thing that I will always forever be impressed and indebted to with USAPL was their their commitment to production value with these big meets. I mean, I never, and I still search for that feeling. I've never felt like so much of a rock star than when I lifted at the Arnold. I've never. And I'm telling you,
Were
if you
were
ever,
you not in the C pod though, right? When it was on the big stage?
nah, I've done the big stage. Big stage is all right. It's okay. C-Pod is where you feel like an absolute rock star.
Really?
Absolute rock.
I did
I,
not like the C pod.
I'm
But
telling you, when you
you
walk
you
out,
were an athlete. That's
yeah,
totally
when
different.
you walk out and you glance to the right and you see yourself looking back at yourself, 50-foot version of yourself, you see the video wall and all that stuff, man, you feel like an absolute rock star.
I mean, can you
And
imagine what the people at Sheffield feel like with 2,200 people like out there? They got to be like,
yeah,
they gotta be
and here's the thing, dude. I haven't lived in the Sheffield, so I don't know. One day, maybe. I just feel like the. I think a lot of it's just the energy, because there were so many people packed. I haven't been to Arnold since the split, but
okay.
my
So
last.
that's I've only been to Arnold after the split. So
Oh
yes, exactly. It's just not the same.
man,
It was not good. It's just
let
not. You were going when Ray was squatting 1080.
I was
Like
there.
you were going at a
I was
different
there.
time.
I was in the flight with him. Like
Yeah, right, right.
I've been. Let me put you on. So so when Ray squatted that, I was right there. I'm talking. Got out, got in front. You can. There's some videos you can hear me say, "Do it for your babies, Ray." Like I was right there when Blaine Sumner squatted
Right,
at 500 kg. I was
right.
right there, dude. And I remember looking back and not. I don't know. I'm such a weirdo. I remember looking back and just looking at feet because like I'm sitting on the ground and you couldn't even see the floor, dude. You couldn't even see the floor. And I stood up like, yeah, let's go, let's go. And I couldn't, I'm not, it's not like I'm tall. You couldn't even see the end of it. It was so packed. It spilled out of the pod.
Yeah.
It was in the aisleway. Like people were getting trouble because people couldn't get through. There was a point, it was rocking so much that Arnold himself was trying to get through. Like he was having a hard time trying to get through to even see what was going on. I'm talking, it was packed. And oh man, it was like that year after year after year after year after year. And the oh my gosh, man. So that feeling I have not felt as a lifter, even as a spectator. It didn't matter what event it was. It was a bench only, it would be packed. The Pro Raw, it would be packed. The Raw Challenge, it would be packed. It didn't matter what event it was. Hell, even Ohio had I forget which meet Ohio had. It was like for Ohio lifters only. And they had their own meet, and that thing was packed. Like it was, and then you would go to the mains to the big stage, and it would be packed, partially packed. But most people they don't want to pay to walk in to watch the lifters lift. But it would have a solid crowd too. But it was always, I remember you would get you get an invite to do any of them. Do you want to do the main stage or do you want to do C-Pod? And dude, I'm not joking. We were like, nah, man, let's do C-Pod. Let's do the pod. Let's do the pod because it is packed. The atmosphere is just crazy, and it's you have a whole wall it's this whole video wall, and you might have a little like 4.5 foot space on the side where you could squeeze past that wall just to get back to the warm up room. Like it was a time, man, and I'm looking forward to that time where we on this side can recreate that because it's doable. It's very doable.
I think you're gonna get it in Atlanta this year.
Yeah,
I think if they do it right,
yeah,
and actually, no, I'm going to use that to transition. So you are on the board
yep,
of Powerlifting America.
yes, sir.
We glanced past that so I do want to talk to you about that because I feel like it's almost like
Man.
the board is kind of like hidden. I
Hmm.
guess it's not really on the forefront. None of the administration is really on the forefront,
Hmm.
and I. It's not that I don't like it is the wrong word, but in this day and age, when you have people like Dana White who are like in everyone's fucking face,
Yeah.
talking about what they're doing as an organization, talking about making content. Like Dana White's literally making content. Like
Yeah,
we don't really have anyone. I mean, I'm the closest thing to it. We don't have no one out there who's making content about what the future of the sport is.
yeah.
So give us some insight. Like what are we planning? What can you share that we're planning? Like what can we get
I
excited
can't.
about?
It's hard because there's not a lot you can really share without being a breach of something. I think
That's a
I
problem. That's got to be. I
well,
would
it's
like to see
just
that addressed.
there's contracts, there's stuff like I mean, what I can say is this, man, so people understand how it works with a lot of this stuff. You've got there's a lot, man. There's so many moving parts, that I had no clue. I had no clue about. I just thought, oh, they just show up, make some decisions, and that's it. Um, there are I've literally watched people just going 2 and 3 days without sleep to make sure that not only are events run correctly, that that people are taken care of, the emails are answered. The problem is there's a lot of people that like, hey, y'all can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, not understanding that a lot of you can't get through Z without getting A through Y. It's just it's just not possible. There's a lot of stuff being done behind the scenes to try to make sure that this federation is run correctly, transparently, and with the lifter in mind. And I mean, I think with anybody that was a part of any other federation, that's the one thing that Robert and the whole board has really been trying to do is they're trying to be a lot more transparent out of the gate, but at the same time, there's things that are, I mean, that's some people that don't want to know stuff, and there's some people that do want to know stuff. But the one thing that I've noticed, at least on my side watching, is there's always something going on. And when you're focused on one thing, all right, let's get this done, let's get this rocket. Oh crap, something else comes up, or somebody's got this to say, or someone's got So I the one thing that I can say on my end from watching what's going on is you've got 10 to 12 people that are working their butts off to try to make this Fed the best Fed possible. And it's hard when you don't have a lot of people. And I think that's the part that I didn't really pay attention to when I was in USAPL. So, I mean, we're 30,000 strong. I mean, you can literally, toss a penny and hit 5 or 6 people before it hits the ground. Whereas in Powerlifting America, when you have a very young federation that's just forming, you're waiting for the membership to grow. And as it grows, you can start, addressing not necessarily problems, but you start addressing issues that people maybe had with the previous federation or whatever. With nationals. With USAPL, I mean, you have a bunch of foot soldiers, so you can go out and it's like, hey, you know what? People on the West Coast, let us know if you know any venues. People on, the East Coast, let us know if you have any venues. North, South, East, West. I mean, when you have 30,000 foot soldiers, pretty much that can, that can phone in anything, like it's easy. You have a farther reach. When you have like, 5,000 plus that as it's growing, there's a lot less. Well, there's a lot less. Hey guys, do y'all know anything? You know anything? It's a lot of, like I can use Mike Z for example. There's a lot of different venues for, let's say, for nationals that Mike will go, right? Like, hey, I heard there's an awesome venue. Let me go check it out. Whereas, like if USAPL, like, hey, Robert, like, hey, dude, there's an awesome venue over here. Well, hey, you go check it out for me. There's just a lot more individualism. I think on this side that a lot more of a individual touch that I didn't know existed. Like these guys are doing a lot of stuff that I had no clue that they're having to do. Like like with most people, all of them have jobs outside of being on the board because it's not a paid. Mind you, I need people to understand being on the board. It is not a paid position.
Right.
This
And so that's something I have stressed on them to
yeah,
not only how about make a post talking about that, make a
yeah,
video
it's yeah,
talking about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Because
We
here's
on
the
the
thing, we have access as a federation to so many things being a
absolutely
nonprofit. Like, so for example, I do a golf outing every single year. And the golf outing makes like 15 grand
yeah,
for this autism charity. We could do that with every like local chapter.
yeah,
Like we can do 50-50 raffles. We can do all these things
yeah,
that for-profit businesses can't even
absolutely.
do. And so I think I would love to see that used not only as like a way to kind of deflect some of the anger, but as
Yeah.
a way to market
Yeah.
like what we're doing as a
Well,
non-for-profit. Like,
I think another cool thing that we are working on doing is, I mean, I don't think that we're 100% transparent, because
not
I feel
100%
like, you know,
transparent.
well, not
What?
no. Well, I feel like the 100% transparency, it's a hard thing to do when you didn't come from, you know, a federation that was 100% transparent. So a lot of it's like, you know, it's relearning and making new habits. So like, you know, for me to be like, you know, I feel like, you know, nowadays it's like, wait, you're not 100% transparent. Like, what's going on? Everyone else is, you know. But it's one of those things where, you know, you come from a Fed where you spent 20, 30 years and it wasn't necessarily 100% transparent. You know, not that not that they
Yeah.
didn't want to. It's
So
just
I
it's a
guess
hard thing to.
real quick, like I guess I'm not super concerned about transparent. Like I
Yeah.
am concerned about
Where's
transparency. I'm more concerned about I don't need specifics. What is the general? What's the
yeah,
plan? And
yeah,
what's the vision?
yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about. Like
The plan.
I don't
Okay.
need to know. I
Yeah.
don't need to know
Right.
everything. I just
And
want
I
to know.
think that's a big thing. Like, you know, to be able to, you know, quarterly have every, you know, every 6 months, like, all right, you know what, this is where our membership is, these are our goals, this is what, you know, we want to let you guys know, this is the plan, this is the state of the federation, this is the vision, you know, and you know, this is where we, you know, we feel like you guys are important in X, Y, and Z. I don't think that's a hard thing to do.
No,
um
it's
and
and so
and
that's why I'm pressing you on this because I want to see it. I
no,
want.
and here's the thing, I mean, again, without like, you know, stepping on toes, because I don't like putting other people's words, you know, in my mouth, and vice versa. You know, that's something that I'm excited, you know, that we're really working on is, you know, you've got people that aren't used to doing that, that haven't been used to doing that, that are actually working towards doing that. I mean, if you're going to tell Robert Carroll, hey man, I need you to let us know this, that, and the third, and Robert's not used to doing something like that, like, you know what, that's you're telling the, you know,
So actually,
the
funny. I had this conversation with Robert.
yeah, you know,
I talked to Robert at High School Nationals New Orleans because
yeah,
he was like, "You need to vote for me for president," and I'm like, "Well, Robert, I don't just vote for people on spec. What's your plan?
yeah,
What are you doing? What's your plan?"
yeah,
And actually, he had some good stuff.
yeah,
He's really big on television. He's like
yes.
television. He goes, television's the future, blah blah blah. Well, I'm like, Robert, what does that mean? Like, you can't just say that,
Yeah.
like, because
Like
like I
what type of television? Are we talking
what
streaming? Are we
streaming? Yeah,
talking
what are we talking?
video on
Like, what?
demand? What are we
Yes,
talking? You
exactly.
know, and I think, and again, a lot of it is just because, I mean, there is a, not necessarily an age gap, but there's a there's a bit of separation in between, like, you know, like what you say versus what you mean. Okay, cool. So you're saying television. All right. So, you know, screens. I'm sure he's meaning screens. Get on screens rather than just like, all right, you know, we're not just gonna lean on YouTube and live streams anymore. You know, let's look into, you
Yeah.
know, let's look into your CBSs. Let's look into, you know, bigger networks being involved. You know, I mean, and I've learned from my dad is, I mean, when he says TV, that's what he's talking about when he says TV, like getting on a bigger screen. You know, not just the
Yes.
computer screens, not
I
just
mean,
the
I
phone
pressed
screens.
him on that too. I'm like, you
Yeah,
said television. What do you mean? He says, I don't. We don't really
yeah,
know. We know what we like. We just don't because like you obviously have to make a deal.
yeah,
Like you have to go talk to
yeah,
a bunch of
and
different people and just sell your rights. Now, I mean, I'm gonna say right now they made a huge mistake selling the rights to Bench Worlds, which frankly is an inferior product relative to Classic Open.
right.
Like they should have basically. And I know that's a domestic thing. I know
Yeah,
that's probably easier to do something
yeah,
domestically than it
absolutely.
is nationally. But like I'm putting all my chips into Classic Open, into
Yeah,
Sheffield. I'm putting all my chips into things that actually kind of
yeah.
people want to watch.
Well, I think a
Um,
lot of that is, you know, I mean, okay, so do you give away, not necessarily sign away the rights to, you know, something like Bench Worlds? And again, it's the way I look at it. And again, I don't know how that deal went down, but for me on the outside looking in for that particular deal, I'm like, all right, well, we'll do it with the World Championships, Bench World Championships. If it ends up being successful, you know what? Let's run it back. Let's give our biggest product. Now, if it's not, it flushes out, well, that's fine. Well, then it's not necessarily our it's not a super inferior product, but it's not our biggest product. So we didn't, you know, we're not SOL because it's bench. You know, what I mean, we can re up after bench. But if
yeah,
let's say if
I
we if
well. I think it
If
was
we,
a good deal because
yeah,
the sponsors basically
yeah,
covered everything. So like it
absolutely,
really wasn't that bad. I
yeah,
think it's just more if you want to give someone a good sample. Like you can multi-stream. Like you could put it on YouTube, you can put it on
yeah,
TV, you can put it
absolutely.
on both.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. I think you said it. You said it best. If you want to give people a good sample, bench only is a very good sample of your three lift. Now, let's be honest. It's not like we do
You
a
don't have
push
the
pull
stars
worlds.
there. Like the stars aren't there. You don't have Jesus. You
Well,
don't have
and
you don't have
exactly. So,
yeah.
but here's the thing: you can look at the numbers that you got from the samples you gave with bench. I'm like, okay, we did numbers like this with just a bench only with a single lift worlds, dude. Let's see. Maybe it'll be double, triple, quadruple the amount, if not more, when we load our stars up. But then that's the thing. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know that I would personally be willing to gamble with my biggest, brightest, shiniest product just yet without knowing. Because again, a lot of this, like, all right, let's put one foot in, let's tap our toe, let's see how this water feels before we hop in. And I feel like that's, at least, again, this is my opinion. That's a good way of tapping my toe in the water and feeling how hot and or cold it is before I dive in. Who knows? The next deal might be like, what, we're gonna go all in. Because it's weird me saying it out loud because it's that's my business, but it's powerlifting, dude. It's not that deep. But at the same time, if we provide them with an awesome quality product, they like what they like. Or, oh, you like that? Shit, wait till we show you open.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, you don't want to. Do you want to put all your chips in? I mean, you're a businessman, so I will say, as a businessman, you can gamble. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
no, I
sometimes,
think I think so. Here's what I would say. I think powerlifting has nothing to
yeah,
lose, so I don't know why you wouldn't.
right,
Right? Like if we put Classic Open on CBS Sports live, we have nothing to lose if it goes poorly because things already aren't that great.
right.
So like I don't think that's what I think. I'm like there's nothing to lose because you don't have anything.
Well,
Like, you
I,
know.
I I think a lot of it is it's relative to to who's involved, because I mean, to these people, because you got to say, like, with the majority of the board, you know they were a part of the previous federation, and you know they, man, dude, I try not to, like, I try not to speak for everybody, but I mean, knowing how much work they've all put in to just even get the federation started, number one, and the flack you catch for doing it, number two, and I mean, just
All right. Well,
the
here I want to say something there because it's not about the past right now. Like for me as like a
exactly,
music director, I don't really care what it took to get here. I want to
yeah,
hear about what you're going to do moving forward. Like
absolutely,
I don't I respect the fact that especially Robert was willing to take the risk in starting this
yeah, man,
new federation. I respect that, but guess what? We're in a results based like the
absolutely.
NFL.
Oh
What have
yeah,
you done
that
for me
that it,
lately?
but you
Like
could also understand why some stuff they might play close to the chest, because I mean, again, there's some stuff that I legally can't necessarily divulge, but I mean, there's some stuff that, I mean, that they're not allowed to talk about. There's some stuff that
yeah,
they're not allowed to do
no,
with,
no, no. But
and 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 for
here's what I
that
want.
stuff, that part I get, but I also understand what you're saying as far as, like, what, there's a degree of transparency that we would like from you guys. I don't want to know. I don't need to know everything, but I need to know the few things that I'm concerned about. And one of the
Yes,
things that I personally, as not as a board member, not as an athlete rep or anything, but just as a member of the federation, I would want to know, like, hey, you know what? So what's the goal for the next 2-3
yes.
years? You know what I
So
mean?
like
Like,
here, let me break it down. So here's what I want to know. I want to know one, what's your marketing plan?
yeah,
Right? What's your marketing plan? Like you can have the best product in the world, but if no one knows about it, it doesn't matter.
absolutely.
Right? I could have the coolest gym you've ever seen, but if I don't advertise, don't
Right.
matter. What's your marketing plan? What channels are you planning to market on? What kind of a budget are you planning to spend on marketing? Because here's my thing. I was running $250,000 business when I was with the USAPL in just
Yeah.
meets. So if we don't have a marketing budget, I got some cash lying around. Like
Yeah.
let's make sure we're marketing our product, right?
Yeah.
Make sure we're doing some Google ads, make sure we're doing some Facebook ads, make sure we're
Right.
doing something. One, what's the marketing plan? Two, what is your plan for nationals? And I'm not asking you to tell me locations. I know how difficult it is.
Yeah.
What do you want the events to look like? Tell me
Right.
what do you want them to look like? Tell me that. What's your plan? And then the third one, I do want to ask about the signature sanction because that kind of flopped. And so, like, are we redeeming that? Like, is it still going on? Like, it really wasn't marketed all that well, and that's a really important piece because that's replacing the Arnold. That's replacing
Yeah.
all these things you're talking about that we're missing. So those would be my three things I really want to know about. And I think it's not crazy to ask about those three,
No, okay.
right?
So number one, you're asking. Go ahead. Ask me
Mark,
number one again.
number one is marketing. What's your marketing plan? What's your marketing budget? What are you planning on? Because obviously I pay a lot of money into the federation. I want
Right.
to know, like, obviously all that should be transparent. What are we spending on marketing? What's our marketing strategy? Right?
Right. Okay. So I don't know the specifics as far as that goes because that's not necessarily a board. That's not necessarily something that crosses the board. That is for the executive committee. I'm not in the executive committee. I'm in the board. I'm on the board. So that would be obviously a Mike Z question. But I do know that between Mike Z and Trey, they have so much. I don't want to be like just too vague, but they got a lot in the pot in terms of like what they're marketing and how they're trying to market. There's a lot of I guess the old way that we did stuff was kind of like a word of mouth, kind of like, hey, you know what, this is on the website, that's it. If you guys sign up, cool. If you don't, no big deal. But I know that they're working on some stuff as far as actually reaching out, not necessarily reaching out to people, but actually like trying to get more eyes on the federation, trying to get the eyes on more meets, and really actually using our biggest, most powerful resource, of course, our athletes, to not necessarily get the word out, but actually using the athletes as a tool, much like we talked about with like using like Gino as a tool, like
Yeah.
to kind of get the word out. I mean, people don't necessarily care that much about a federation if they don't see the results that come from the federation. So I know as far as like Trey and Mike and everybody that's on that executive side, I know they're leaning toward actually, having a more aggressive type marketing plan to actually actually reach out, to have more eyes see the federation. One of the cool things I think that they really did as far as like, we talked about nationals a little bit, how they managed to get almost a 50-50 with USA weightlifting, for the national meet. Because like the senior nationals for USA weightlifting is going to be going on around the same time, or literally the same time as our Raw nationals is going to be going on. I thought that was a genius way of doing it, because not only are you going to get a lot of those major sponsors, a lot of those major eyes that are going to be looking at USA weightlifting, but also Powerlifting America is going to be there also and able to kind of 1-2 that thing. I
Yeah, I
thought
mean,
that was
sharing USADA is huge because that's a
yeah
huge
that
spotlight.
yeah that's
Yeah.
huge. As far as a lot of the minute details, I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend like I know what's going on with a lot of that, as far as like the marketing budget, and the big time marketing general plan, because I know that they're bringing more people on into the staff to actually like head that. I don't necessarily try to stay in my lane, but I try to make sure that I focus more on the athlete and make sure the athletes are on point
Yeah,
for my position with the
yeah,
board.
but I don't.
uh,
I totally agree. Like, if you don't know about
yeah,
that stuff and you're like that,
some
so
of the
that's
stuff,
my
yeah.
marketing is my thing. It's
Yeah.
literally like, if you saw the fucking whiteboard I have, the shit I do for my
Yeah.
gym, you'd be like, why doesn't Powerlifting America do that?
Yeah.
So, like, I guess that's the kind of transparency I'm looking for. I'm just looking for, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What's your plan? Like, is your plan accomplishing our
Yeah.
goals? Like, they're doing much better on the social media. The social media was really, really bad a
Yeah.
couple months ago, and
Yeah.
I sent emails. I was
Yeah.
very upset. You have to post every day. You have to post like stories. You have to. It's the biggest. It's a free
It's
tool
the
to
easiest
help
tool to
people.
use. And I think one of the cool things that I will say that the board is really good at doing, and that the powers that be have been very good at doing, is actually hearing what people have to say, and trying to adjust to it. The thing about it's weird, because I mean, regardless of it being one single entity, it's one single entity that has a lot of different parts, a lot of different people. And I mean, there's a lot of different people on the ship, so to be able to turn the ship in the right direction, that means you have to get everybody going in that same direction. And so I think that's been a cool thing to kind of watch a lot of these people that have been set in their ways in the past. I'm like, you know what, they're right, let's try to work on this and this and this. And the one thing that I think people don't, which is I mean, it's then I guess not supposed to, but the one thing that people really don't have an opportunity to hear is how we do talk in these board meetings, how how the executive committee does communicate with one another as far as like making sure that we try to put the athlete first and try to make sure that we try to propel this federation into a better position tomorrow than it was yesterday. There's a lot of believe it or not, I mean, people choose to believe whatever they want to, but you've got a lot of people that are really wanting to grow this federation in the best way possible and really try to keep it as as centralized and as focused on helping the athlete and keeping the athlete safe, more so than people would even imagine. Just in running the fed, there's a bunch of other stuff that ends up happening that just kind of throws a lot of that focus off of what the people are really trying to do. Um, you just have a lot of different people that are trying to work toward a common goal of growing this federation and really putting the athlete and the people in this federation first. So um, I guess that's the part that really drew me to the position. Period. Was the fact that, okay, you guys do care about an athlete, awesome. Okay, you do care about what our opinions are, okay, awesome. Okay, so are we going to be able to execute a lot of these opinions and a lot of these questions that the federation has, that these people in the federation have? Okay, you're going to try your best. Okay, so what does that mean? And when I started seeing like, oh, like, okay, you guys are really trying on this end. Okay, I do want to be a part of this. Because I mean, let's be honest, man to man, that's not necessarily something like, dude, do I really want to be a part of this board? Do I really want to
when
try to?
when Tamra mentioned to me about it, I was like, it was like one of those things where it's like, well, I'm like, I'll do it for a year and then I'm done. That was my original thought when I was going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'll do it for a year just to like
yeah,
help. But like, there's no glory, there's no money, there's no.
no,
All you can do is hope to get people to do the right thing.
yeah,
That's it. That's all you can do. You can pray and hope that you can argue and convince people to do the right
yeah,
thing. And like it sounded painful, but I'm like, you know what? I have a financial interest in that being successful.
yeah, man.
I might
I
want.
mean, and I think the cool thing about this, where we're at the point in this federation is not only is it growing, but we're in a position where you have a lot of board members, and and you can quote me on this. You have a lot of board members that constantly try to remind ourselves and each other that you know we are here for the athletes. We are here for the people in our federation. And when we start from the time that we start to the time that we dismiss, the goal is to make sure that we put this federation and the people in this federation in the best position possible. I mean, and I've said it a couple times, in our meetings. This Fed doesn't exist without athletes. This Fed doesn't exist without the people. And if we lose sight of that, we're going to lose the federation. It's that simple. And at no point have I ever met any type of opposition whenever I said it. At no point have they ever been like, nah, unless you're off on that one. Like, it's always been, yeah, you're right, you're right, you're right. And I mean, if ever, I don't know that we've ever had a board meeting where we lost focus of what we were trying to do. But if ever that we get sidetracked on like a different subject or whatever, there's always somebody in that board like, hey, remember, it's about the athletes. It's about yeah, you're right, you're right. And everyone locks back in. I think that's been the coolest thing about being a part of this board in the first place, is that our goal is, and has been from day one, is making sure that we do right by the people in this federation. And dude, I love that. I mean,
Yeah. So
anybody that
I
does,
mean,
yeah.
here's one thing I would ask is a lot. I hear that all the time. It's for the athletes.
Mhm.
It's for the athletes. Blah 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 blah. What does that mean? Because what I want as an athlete is a lot different than what the person next to me as
Right.
an athlete wants. So I mean, how do we know what the athletes want?
Well,
I mean, are we doing?
here's a. I'm glad you said that, because it's an easy plug. When the one thing that people love to do, and this is I'm guilty of, is people like saying, hey man, you know what, you don't hear what we have to say, you don't hear what we do, you know what I want, you don't know what I want. Okay, awesome. So we send out these surveys, man, and people might think, oh, it's just a survey, it's a survey. You know what, here's the thing: when you got 1,000 people, 1,000 people want 1,000 different things, you don't know what those 1,000 different things are if those people don't say anything. We send out surveys after surveys, and we send surveys out generally to the whole federation. We send surveys out to the athletes, the respective world teams. Like, we try to send out as many surveys as possible, to the the individual subgroups to try to find out what the athletes think, what they want, see where the trends are. Because the only way you're going to figure out, about anything is you got to get data that about whatever they're wanting to talk about. Well, if people don't fill out those surveys, we have nothing. We have nothing to judge off of. But here's the thing: those same people that don't want to answer the surveys are the same people they're quick to hop on social media and talk.
Yeah,
They're
and
quick to
then,
talk.
and those people can just shut the fuck. Like we don't.
Yeah, and so that's my thing.
Your
Like, I mean,
opinion doesn't matter. Right.
yeah, I'm on that athlete committee, man. I'm sitting there. I'm reading every single survey that comes in, every single one that comes in. And here's the crazy thing: you send out 1,000 of them, and you only get 150 back, 60 back.
So funny enough, I've done my own survey.
Yeah.
Right. Because I actually saw your guys' survey.
Yeah.
I think I filled it out. Or you know what? I don't think I did because I'm not an. No. I'm not an. I can't speak for the athlete. I can't. Yeah. I'm not. That's not my thing. Like, I like lifting, but
the thing. Before you finish, let me pause you for a second. Even if you're not an athlete, and anybody that's going to be watching and hearing this, even if you're not an athlete, if you were an athlete, if you were, I mean, here's the thing: if you're a member of this federation, at some point, you're going to be contributing in some form or fashion. Well, so even if you're,
here's my thing: I just tell my shit directly to Luke and Mike. So like, I don't like.
You're that guy.
Yeah. No. I mean, like I have enough of a resume, owning the largest powerlifting gym in the country, to like tell them, hey, I think this is probably a good idea. Like, especially with like my marketing expertise.
Yeah.
Like, talk about.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and so,
like
and that's the thing. You have some insight that a lot of people don't necessarily have, because you know most of us, the executive committee, how Luke and Mike are, how Trey and Mike are, like how hard they work behind the scenes, and that's the thing, like not everyone's privy to that opportunity, that information, like it's just not. But at the same time, there is an opportunity for any and everyone to have a chance to speak. And I mean, regardless if people feel like it works or not, you're never going to know if it works or not if you don't fill out anything.
Well, that's why I feel like PA is so superior to USAPL, because I feel like I can just communicate. I don't have to wait 6 weeks for an email.
Yeah.
I think that's actually one thing I credit them significantly. They are significantly better at getting me answers and stuff. But I do want to go back and ask, what did the survey? What were the general things the survey yielded? Like, what were the big things? Because I know when you do a survey, there are going to be some things that stick out. Like, what stick out? What was the feedback you were getting?
That first, I'll tell you about the first survey, because that one was the one that it really, oh man, that one didn't necessarily hurt my heart, but it was like, all right, now we kind of see a trend. We saw that.
So surveys are always going to hurt your heart. I do a survey every single month about my gym, and it's like I've become numb to it, thankfully. Yeah. But like, it's like, but it's like you just you can't be emotional about it. You just got to be like, what can I do to go ahead?
Well, the one that stuck out the most was a lot of the masters lifters, a lot of the older lifters felt unseen. They felt unheard. And that always hurts my heart, because I'm an older lifter now. And it's very, very true. Like, it was weird when I lifted only open. I felt like I was constantly reposted. I was all constantly talked about. And as soon as I started lifting masters, it just like kind of went away. Like, you didn't really know when the Masters meets were. You didn't know that the Masters World Championships were going on. You didn't know a lot of, even NAPF, like, you don't really. So, the older lifters felt that they weren't necessarily seen or heard, nor were they followed, or talked about. Number two, a lot of the NAPF, basically, if you were not on the open raw powerlifting team, you really didn't exist. That's basically what a lot of people were saying. There were talks about the additional weight class for the ladies, and like how that would affect positions for the world's team. The big thing was communication. A lot of people just they wanted to be communicated with a bit more. And around that time, I mean, that was really when stuff was taking off. Because I mean, I think we're about to have like a whole revamped web system and all that stuff. So a lot of that was just that was no one's fault. It's just you're revamping your whole web campaign. So like it's
So I think the communication is still poor, and I'm still. Here's what I would ask: why can't anyone in charge, every week, just do a little Instagram live and just talk about what's going on? Like, you don't need to spill
hmm
secrets. Just
yeah,
because when you don't communicate with people, people assume
yeah,
the worst.
yeah,
That's like
absolutely,
a big corporate thing. Like, if you're not talking to your people,
right,
people assume the
right,
worst. So
right,
it doesn't take a lot it doesn't have to be the same person every week. Someone go on and say, hey, this is what we're talking about, this is what we're working
right,
on, like, this is what you can expect from us. It doesn't take a lot. How about a monthly newsletter? Fuck, it doesn't have to be every
right.
week. Like, just fine. Like, it's still bad, the communication, and if you don't admit you have a problem, you won't fix it. So
True, true.
like, people need to admit, like, we need to communicate. I don't need to be communicated with, but like the general public needs to be
No, I like that
communicated with.
idea because I mean, I don't know that it would be a bad idea to be
No,
honest with you.
people
To like, what,
can ask
maybe
questions.
because
People
we
ask
do,
questions down here. You can
yeah, we
answer
do
what
these
you want.
monthly, yeah, we do these monthly board meetings anyway. Like maybe like I'll post that Monday after our board meeting or whatever. Like like hey, you know what? Let's just go ahead and go on a live or like hey guys, so in the board meeting we talk about blah 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 blah. And these are some things that we're thinking about. I mean, and that's a monthly thing. As far as like a weekly, I don't know that
Doesn't
we
have
have.
that may be a lot,
Yeah,
really.
I don't know that we have. Yeah, a monthly. I think that would be. I think that's very doable. We have been talking. This is again. I don't know what I'm allowed to say versus what I am allowed to say, but I know that we are working on some stuff as far as like more communication. Being able to like know your board members more. To know who these people are.
Well, so I'll be reaching out to everyone because I'm making a video about because no one knows how the board is structured.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a problem in a nonprofit
Yeah.
member voting
Right.
organization. Like, you don't need to know who runs my company, right? I'm a private company. You don't need to know
Right.
jack shit. You don't deserve. But when I'm a member electing people, I
Yeah.
want to know who's in
Right.
charge. I want to know who's making
Absolutely.
decisions, who's in charge of what. All that needs to be 100% transparent. And if you don't like that,
No, I mean
everyone
that's
can shut.
here's the thing.
Not you. I'm
That's
not talking to
that's
you.
a
I'm
part
just
of
saying.
any no. That's a part of any nonprofit. That's a part of any board. A part of a nonprofit. I feel like any and everyone should know, like who the people are, how it's formed, how the people are voted for. This, that, and the third. I My problem with is always when, and this is not a knock on anybody. I do not like when I feel like there are secrets being held, and those secrets don't necessarily need to be held. I don't like feeling
Yes.
like I'm a part of
Right.
something where
Exactly what
I
you're
don't like
saying right
see.
now. Yeah. I mean, these aren't like if we've got there are certain things yes and certain things no, because when you tell people what you're working on, it gets them excited about it. Like, I tell people, hey, I'm working on this thing. It gets
Yeah,
people excited about it. Now, you don't have to tell people we're closing a sponsorship deal with this company.
right.
When that deal closes, you better tell everyone about it. Hey, we got
Yeah,
this big company, blah blah blah. Now, there's like anything illegal, anything disciplinary, that's behind closed doors.
absolutely.
Like, but there are things that like can and should be talked about to start building excitement. It's just a
Absolutely.
kind of marketing thing.
And I think a lot of it comes as time progresses. Just because I mean to be honest, there's and again a lot of stuff you already know. So I mean like it's like I'm telling you stuff you already know, but the people that are watching or are going to be listening, they don't necessarily know there are a lot of jobs being done by a few people,
Right.
and here's the thing, and it's not
So
that someone else can't do the job. It's just that there are no people that can do those jobs right now, which is it just is
uh,
what it is,
I don't think
and
they reach out enough. I think there's plenty of capable
here's the
people.
thing. There's that's some stuff you don't know. They reach out quite a bit, quite a bit more than you probably know. But then here's the thing: who wants? You can't just put anybody in a position without vetting them. It just is
Right.
what it is. You know what I mean? And as a business owner, you know that you're not going to put somebody in a position of management that doesn't have. They just don't have what it. You know what I mean? Like again, so
Right.
that's
So So here's what I'm talking about. So there's probably, I'm gonna say, if I count off the top of my head, 6 or 7 people who run like 4 or 5 meets a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you went to every one of those people and said, hey, we need like 5 hours a week of help, that would add basically a full-time
True
position.
story.
And it can be anything. It could be I would delegate low-level stuff. I would
Yeah.
delegate, like, you got Rodney Herbertson is doing records, right?
Yeah.
He's just a volunteer, but like you could have someone like me do like if you want me to sell shit, I'll still sell shit to anyone. You want me to
Yeah.
go sell. So obviously I'm never going to try to sell a sponsorship again because I tried and it didn't work. Or no, it didn't. That didn't work. No one followed up on it, so I'm never doing that ever again. But I did deliver the golden goose and it was killed. Um, and so like you can have different people do
Right.
different stuff like in the organization. Like for example, like we don't have a real podium.
Yeah.
I volunteered to build a podium because I have a maintenance guy who like builds all my shit,
Yeah.
and like no follow up, so I don't know what I can't.
Yeah.
Like you've seen the podiums. The podiums are ridiculous.
Yeah.
They drive me nuts. Like we need a real podium. Like little shit like that can be delegated, and I'm more than happy to help because, like I said, I run 12 meets a year. It's a $250,000 business for me. I'm more than willing to help the brand as itself because it helps me financially. I have no
Right.
problem, jumping into that. So I think reaching out more would, like, I don't think the Cargills would jump at the opportunity to help
Yeah.
with anything, I'm sure. But I think that's the volunteerism type aspect we
Yeah.
can maybe play up a little more.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of that is really like I said, some of the stuff is a lot. I should say not some, but a lot of the stuff that they're actually working on is like actually reaching out a bit more, trying to get more volunteers. I mean, even I can use our committee for example, like our athlete committee. Like we're actually reaching out to grow that piece by piece. Because it's kind of cool. Like the more you sit in these meetings, the more you realize like they actually do care as much about what the athletes have to say than any and everything else, which is great. Obviously for us. So looking at actually growing that committee, because I mean it's cool as the federation grows. Obviously the committee, you want the committee to grow. I think that's been probably the nicest thing about really being a part of this Fed is there is an actual effort to not just talk the talk but actually walk it. Now the hard part within walking the walk is even if we walk what we're talking, we're not going to be walking as fast as some people want. It just is what it is. um you know People want transparency. That's
Yes,
awesome. People
I'm
want,
one of those. I'm
yeah.
definitely one of those people. I'm guilty of that
I
for
mean,
sure.
and the one thing that's required of anybody in a position like this is patience, man. Like you have to be patient. I mean, nothing happens overnight. I mean, and to think
Right.
of
It's a
where
it's a
this
political. I'll actually defend you. It's a
yeah,
political organization. It's
yeah,
not like
yeah,
I am in charge of my business. I can make something. I
yeah,
can snap my fingers. I can ACH the money. I can make something happen. Business runs at a different speed than
yeah,
political entities do.
absolutely.
Congress, obviously, Congress is Congress is huge. It's
Yeah,
too big of an example. But like, it's a political body and it's member driven, so it's not going to run
yeah,
at this quick pace.
absolutely.
It is
I mean, and here's the thing, man. I think that people have to understand that. I mean, we have, you know, actually have like legal counsel in the middle of this in the middle of this board. So where it was some stuff that like I feel like, oh, this is easy. Let's just tell them this and this and this. We have this like literally this voice of legality and reason always in our ear. Like actually, according to the rules, you can't do this and this.
and
According to law, you can't do
she's 5'3" and
5'3",
gonna
and
scream and
and,
gonna
and she
scream.
doesn't. What she says. I do. I don't even question it because I
No,
know that number
no,
one, but everything that she says is to protect not just myself. and not just this federation, but
Yeah.
every single member that's a part of that federation, every single meet director that puts on meets, like to make sure that we're safe. So if she says, "Hey, you can say this," I say it. If she says you can't say that, I bet you my mouth is completely zipped, and it's zipped until she tells me I can open it up. And that's the thing that people don't understand is like as much as and and I definitely know what you're trying to do. I know that you're trying to get the answers like not just for yourself but for everyone else. But you also know like, hey, you know what? He can't necessarily give this. He can't give this
I
information
don't
because
necessarily know if I want the answers. I just like to. I'm almost like prodding people,
yeah,
prodding people to kind of just do good for the
yeah,
organization because it helps everyone, right? It's like I'm not asking people to tell me the nuclear launch codes. Like
right.
just when we have something exciting that's come, like the signature sanctions is a great example.
Oh yeah,
So
dude. I was super excited about it.
you announce the signature sanction, and
Yeah,
then you don't explain
yeah,
it. So guess what? People on Two White Lights, people on every podcast get to make up what it is.
yeah.
And so,
Well, and I think that's you nailed on the head. It ended up with the signature sanction. I mean, I think it still has the potential to be super, super special. I
it does,
definitely feel like
yes.
it has the potential to be super special. But I also feel like because you have so few people running so many things at one time, and the way that the announcement of the signature sanction kind of fell, it fell in between
Well, no,
like
that's why the
the
signature sanction is so good. The signature sanction is awesome because basically what you're saying, hey, you, Mr. Meat Director, you go run this event. We're just going to make it look better. The
absolutely
board, the organization doesn't have to do anything. They just have to
no,
approve it. Like,
yeah,
so I feel like that's something I love. It really works well because it basically says that we want companies to come run meets. We're going to
yeah.
make them a little more official.
Absolutely.
And
And
then,
I think it's going to end up being, just from if you really look at the way the signature sanction is set up and the way that the potential behind it, I should say,
yeah,
it has the potential to be something absolutely amazing. And the only way I can really use an example, I can use Sheffield as an example
yeah,
because I mean,
exactly.
if you do it right, because let's be honest, like no one thought that I didn't think I was like, I don't know about the Sheffield thing. I don't know if it's going to be as dope as they think they say it's going to be. But if you put if you put in what you want to get out of it, you can get something absolutely amazing. If you put your card together the right way, dude, you can pull out something absolutely amazing. And that's what the Sheffields end up being. Now, with these signature sanctions, there's an opportunity to make them absolutely amazing. My only thing behind, I guess, my only gripe, I should say, about the signature sanction would be this. And ride with me for a second. This has the potential to be a huge meet, right? And I mean, if you play it right, you do it right, it could rival any meet out there, worlds included. It could really be just that meet. Um, if you get the right business behind it, right meet director behind it, the right money behind it, dude, nothing can touch it like a super nice signature sanction meet if you do it the right way. Correct. The only thing that I find hard is okay. So if you have this big, huge blowout meet, where are you gonna have it? Okay. Now you can
I don't know.
have it pretty
I don't
much
know if
anywhere,
that's a
but
problem.
though the problem is when and where you're gonna have it. Because I mean, are you gonna have it in the summer? Okay, cool. So are you gonna pull
Oh, you're
away
talking about
from
when? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
like yeah, so are you gonna pull away from, the people that are gonna go to NAPF? Are you gonna do it, in the early, early winter? So then like you're pulling from Sheffield people, I mean, a lot of it's gonna depend on the calendar. And I think that's where in it, I'm pretty sure the IPF is gonna be changing that calendar up just a
It's
little bit.
already
Yeah. So
done.
once you change that calendar up, then you have an opportunity to, all right, this is where we aim at putting these signature sanctions. I think the
So you
announcement
still
of
won't because the new calendar is going to be you're going to have Q1 is going to have nationals,
yeah,
Q2 is going to be Q2 into 3 is going to be worlds, and
yep,
then Sheffield's going to be in November.
yeah,
So really what it is you have it at the time of Sheffield, but it's not going to include any of those
yeah,
people. It's going to be. I mean, there's only
yeah,
24 lifters in Sheffield worldwide.
yeah.
Half of them are American. You're going to be able to find 25 Americans who are going to do a meet at
Yeah,
that
well, that can
the next week.
put up some crazy
Yeah,
numbers
you're
because
going to
the
be
whole
fine.
love, the whole beautiful thing behind, and I literally, as I'm talking, I'm thinking of like 6 or 7 kids that I've had at my meets that have literally pulled unofficial world records, bench unofficial world records, squatted unofficial world records. The cool thing with the signature sanction is that you can set a record. It can go on
national.
wax. Yeah, a national record. So, a lot of these guys and these guys and girls that have gone to these meets that are, amazing at this at the local level. But here's your opportunity to, to be a local champion, but also put up a national, level, type number. So I personally feel like there's an opportunity with the signature sanctions that could really really put up something super crazy. But at the same time, I'm like, if they are successful, why not put them at the level of like, what, dude, this, okay, we can rival any pro meet. Okay, cool. Now let's figure out a way to make these things where they can go in. We can have an international level signature sanction meet at an
Yeah.
awesome venue where we can start setting world
So
records. So there's potential behind it, I should say. But it's just, I feel like they're gonna have to be planned. I don't think there should be more than I don't think there should be more than two. I think there should be literally two.
yeah. So I was gonna do one, and
Mhm.
I was gonna do my team
Yeah,
thing, and the problem is that I'm expanding my team thing into more
yeah,
events. It's not just gonna be one event; it's gonna be a whole thing.
yeah,
And so it just became more difficult to have multiple
yeah,
of those because of
yeah.
the and eventually we would hope to do that. But the big issue right now, and this is something that only you would think about if you're actually into the business, is I pretty much refuse to run a event that doesn't make money or have the potential to make money. I'm not going to run a meet to lose money, right?
Oh,
That's the difficult part right now.
oh yeah.
That's what's
I
so difficult is like, how do you run a high level meet and make
Yeah,
money, right? So for those listening, sports traditionally make revenue in three different ways. They sell their TV rights, they sell corporate sponsorship, and they do what are called game day experiences. So that's your ticket,
yeah.
that's your food, that's your bathroom, that's stuff like that. Right now, the travel costs alone to get 24 athletes to an event is more expensive than you could
Oh,
possibly
absolutely.
cover.
Yeah,
It's more expensive than you could possibly cover
yeah,
with ticketing. You would have to sell 1,000 tickets at $20 a pop, which if you had the right combination of athletes and you had the right marketing, you
yeah,
could maybe get that done. But then you're talking 10K for a venue and you're talking all these different
yeah.
things. And I definitely think it's
It's possible.
possible.
You're gonna have to get a break somewhere for some. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
maybe get a
yes,
venue break because like we talked about earlier. Maybe get a break from the venue. Like, what? Don't charge me, but you know what? We'll split the door with you, and you have all drinks or something. But
yes,
I mean, you'd have to have a break from somebody in some form or fashion to make sure you
yes.
clear. But I
And
mean,
so why it's so important.
that's the thing behind like that. If you were to get a bigger sponsor, if you were to get somebody to
Well, yeah,
to
let
really
me,
step in, I mean, and then that's for
yeah.
me. That would be honestly in my head. I would love to do a signature sanction, but I would go in expecting not to clear.
Well,
I would
here, so
expect to be
yes.
operating at a loss. I
Let me
would I
explain
would
to people. Making a profit is not about me making money. It has nothing to
Yeah,
do with that. I make plenty of money in my gym. I don't care about making money on powerlifting. Someday, sure, like way down the line,
yeah,
sure. The reason it's so important to make a profit is because that 25, 20% you make profit, you can then take that profit and
reinvest
reinvest it
it
into
back into
what
the
you're doing.
next one.
If you don't make a profit, you can't grow.
No,
It's essential that you make a
yeah,
profit because that's how you continue to
right.
improve. That's why we see Sheffield kind of stagnate because
Now,
they lose
now,
money on that event.
yeah,
And so the prize pool stayed the same, the viewership has basically stayed the
yeah,
same, and that's because they haven't been able to reinvest.
no,
And let's hope that this year with the Americans coming over, maybe they'll be able to boost viewership. I think obviously having Russ there, having Perk there, maybe it's going to draw a bigger American crowd over there. But like the
I
problem
doubt it.
is yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's going to be the same event every year. I think it's going to be the
Yeah,
same with different faces basically. Um, but it's essential that we make money
yeah,
running these events for that very reason. It's just economics. It has nothing to do with
no,
anyone making money or anything. Like
right.
I've never taken a dime home from powerlifting meets. We make a ton of money and we put it back all
Yeah,
in.
we pour it
We
back
pay our
into
staff better.
get
We
a better
build better stages, better
backdrop.
lights.
Yeah,
Dude, I got 9 Alico combo racks. Do you think those like pay for themselves?
yeah.
Like,
No, I totally get it. I mean, I think at the end of the day, man, it's it's you want to put out the best product
yeah.
possible, and if you're going into the game thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make a ton of money, then that's your first
No, and
mistake.
my challenge as an entrepreneur is how do I find a way to make money doing this? That's
Yeah,
my job. My job is can I do a really cool fan fest? Can I sell some sponsorships? Can I make
yeah,
the broadcast really good? Like what can I do?
yeah,
So here's a really cool thing I saw. Well, actually, I didn't saw it. It was my idea, but they ended up doing it. Is on a powerlifting group in Ireland. I talk to them frequently, and what they're doing now is they charge a $10 a month subscription for access to all their meets to watch them.
yeah,
And so, not only do they give you access to all their meets, but they also do a ton of content
yeah.
on the platform. So they have like 1,500 people who subscribe to this platform. They're making 15 grand a month just on this reoccurring revenue stream. And I'm like, that's
It's
something
genius.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I mean, 1,500 really isn't that many. I mean, Powerlifting America has 5,000 members.
yeah,
What I would do is I would say, if you're a Powerlifting America member, you get access to this platform for free.
yeah,
And then I would charge everyone else who's not a
yeah,
member. And
yeah.
then it doesn't cost you anything to really operate this platform.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
yeah, no, it costs nothing. I mean, a couple $100 maybe in subscriptions and
Yeah,
interlocking things. But yeah,
but the thing behind it is, I mean, you just got to make sure whatever that platform is, whatever, like you just got to make sure you keep churning,
yes,
and you know what I mean.
exactly.
And
Yes.
that's the thing. And I mean, and ideally, that would be an easy. Here's the thing. It's almost passive because I mean, here's the thing. You're already going to be making content. You're already going to be making all kind of stuff. But I mean, if you offer your members or whoever your subscribers are some type of something, some value added, like it's they don't necessarily see it as a loss. They don't necessarily see it as, oh, I'm just burning money on this sub.
It's $10.
I'm paying.
Right. It's $9.99.
Yeah. It is. Here's the thing: you spend more money just
Yes.
just buying crap throughout the day. So
Right.
But here's the thing: that's there has to be kind of how we talked about earlier. There has to be like just there always has to be something constant being put into that. I mean, and let's be honest, I think that would be absolutely amazing. Like, man, for the Fed to do something like, what, this is Powerlifting America app. It's free to all members if you're not, blah, blah, blah. But this is where we exclusively show, whatever, whatever it is, and I think that'd be awesome. But here's the thing. I mean, we're just now getting to a point where what's the word I'm looking for? We're regularly posting, where we're regularly putting out, just minimum content. Like, we would have to be on
Right.
our grind.
But yeah, but for $15,000 a month, I mean, Powerlifting America would make way more
Oh,
than these guys do too. They
big
would have way
facts,
more.
big facts, big facts.
Yeah, well, 15 grand a
But
month, me and you'd be on a podcast every day. We'd be like,
yeah,
yeah,
hey guys, what's going on? How you doing? Ellis, I noticed you just you got a new gold crown.
yeah.
Don't worry about that. Let's keep talking. Don't
I
worry about that. It's like, hey guys, what's going on? How you doing? Like, where'd you get that watch at? Don't worry about it. But yeah, I like the idea of I think the future lies in really us finding a way to create more content, more relatable content, more content that people want to go back and see. Because the crazy thing, when even when I was in
So hold
USAPL, they
on,
posted a lot.
I'm gonna jump right there. When you say content, the content we need to create is events. We have like no events. Literally, my intro literally is,
Mhm.
yes, because I like the sport to grow. What kind of sport has 2 events a year?
Yeah,
Like
man.
right now, the best. Who I think Jesus is the best athlete in the sport. He's the most
Right.
watchable. He's the most entertaining. He competes twice a year.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine Patrick Mahomes? He only plays 2 games a year.
Well, that's hard, dude, because Patrick Mahomes doesn't put 1,000 pounds on his back. You know what I mean? And red line every time. Mind you, Patrick Mahomes, because he does his
No,
thing.
what I'm doing is I'm just saying, like, it's really
Mhm.
hard to if like it's really hard to build all this up if you don't have more frequent
Yeah.
content. I mean, the UFC I mean, the UFC has plenty of content. The UFC did not have the number of events it had, and they had to build more and
They
more
had to
content.
build, yeah, dude. They had
Yeah.
to. I mean, and I think here's the thing. I think there's a way to do it. Where Jesus is Jesus, man. You know what I mean? And he's
No, I
killing
want
it.
to find
But
ways to get him to
he only
compete
competes
more
like you're
often.
right. Yeah, he
Like,
only competes twice a year, and that's the thing. I feel like we could do a better job, and it's no knock on Jesus, but
no, no, no,
the
no. I'm
odds of
saying
somebody,
we don't have enough incentive for him to do more competition.
yeah,
It's
not
our
at
fault. It's
all. You
not
know what I
his
mean?
fault.
Like,
It's our
I know you're
fault.
putting your body to, yeah, I know you're putting your body, on the line when you squat, 1,100 damn pounds damn near, like, hey, you want to do it again for free? No one wants to do that,
No,
So,
exactly.
but I also know this. Um, Jesus is amazing at what he does. He's a badass.
Yes.
Honestly, I mean,
I
he's
want
got
to
a
see.
championship.
I want
You know what
more.
I mean? But here's the cool thing that you will go to these local freaking meets, and mind you, they might not be squatting 1,000 pounds, but you got 900 pound squatters
Yeah.
just going to these local meets, just
Mhm.
killing it. And you find out about them, 2 months later. Some of them don't even go to nationals because they work or whatever. I got a guy right now that he literally pulled 1,100 pounds in his garage. 1,100 pounds, dude, in his garage. He might be 280. I'm not. I would. If I'm lying, I'm flying. And this dude will never do a powerlifting meet. He used to powerlift back in the day. He's one of the original people that got me into powerlifting, dude. I swear to you. So I think it's insane. That I feel like we could do a better job about promoting these local meets. About what. So you got this guy. The cool thing is lifting cast. Lifting cast. Anyone can look lifting cast. And when you find out you have some of these guys coming in, and or I would love, I honestly I would love to put um OG totals for them to find a way for your lifting cast to where when people sign up, like, hey, go ahead and put your or, your opener so that you have an idea of like, oh crap, this guy is he's a boss. So then when you find out, like, I got a guy that's going to be opening up with 800 pounds. Well, shit, this guy's a stud. How about this? Hey, PA, we got this guy that he's on the local level. This guy's gonna be opening up with 850. Like, that's just not anybody can just open up with 850. It doesn't matter if you're a 120, a 105, or a 120 plus. Opening up with an 850 squat is ridiculous. I mean, he opened up with an 800 pound deadlift. So this guy's gonna be putting up something nuts. He might not have the greatest total, but seeing all those reds lined up along that Aleko, that's going to look nutty, period. So, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
How about we send a camera crew down there? Or, hey, how about, you send me a couple $100 so I can hire this camera crew to follow this guy around so we can get some content from him. So while we might not have, there's only one Jesus.
Right.
And here's the thing. Jesus is going to compete a couple times a year, and that's it. And that's really all he has to do. I mean, he's a walking, living
Right.
legend right now. It is what it is. But we have a ton of Jesus's in the making, so to speak,
I mean,
that,
Ray's still around. Ray
yeah,
still lives a
Ray's
couple
still
times a
around. You
year.
can follow Ray around. Atwood's still around. There's a lot of other like, high
Atwood's
level athletes that
done. Atwood's
stop
done.
it. You stop it. He's back, bro. What are you talking about?
Bro, he's not. He's not going to show up at Nats. There's
Yeah,
no way.
boss. He's gonna show
I've been
up.
saying, like, if he shows up at Nats, it's going to be to retire.
Get out of
Okay,
here.
you're telling me he's going to show up at Nats to get cooked by Joe Bornstein, and then he's going to, like, go do NAPF? There's no way Taylor Atwood does that. Can you Taylor Atwood, oh, I'm an NAPF. Oh, yeah. You think he's going to do that whole, he's going to throw his belt at NAPF? No.
See,
He's done.
I'm telling you right now, Atwood's not done, man.
He's done. He's done.
What he just did, he walked in, he dipped his foot in, he showed you guys like, I still got
Bro,
it. And
he's
then he
40
dipped out.
kilos. He's 40 kilos behind. He's
I don't think
done.
he's done. I don't think he's
Done.
done.
Hey, listen. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to see him go to
I
Nats
don't
and
know,
lose
man.
and
I
do
don't know that you like to be wrong.
NAPF, and he's come the next Lane Norton and go do Masters Worlds and stuff. But
Watch, dude.
I don't.
Watch.
He's not
Okay,
that
I
guy.
watch. Atwood's gonna come out of. It's the thing. If he doesn't, no big deal. But if he does, it's like, hey, man. I mean, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back, hits a quick 850, and walks right out. Like, I just want to let y'all know I'm still a G, and just walk out.
No, that's what I think he's gonna do. I literally think he's gonna be like, I just wanted to come to one more Nationals. and then he's going to get cooked by those other guys, those like 18-year-olds who are just insane, and then that's it. Like
Nah, bro.
I've been
First of
saying this.
all,
I've said this
show
on
some
like 6
respect. He shows
podcasts.
some respect for D. Taylor Atwood. Atwood doesn't get cooked by anybody. He'll cook himself before he
Okay,
lets
there.
anybody cook him. I'm telling you that he will cook himself before he lets anybody. Exact.
Oh, I don't
I feel
know.
like, I mean, yeah. Power cook, you got it right. Like he had at least another 60 in him at that meet. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's
Uh,
be real.
we talked about
Now,
how
now you're just sounding like
he
a
had a
hater for real.
little bit on his squat. His deadlift was a 9 or a 10.
That's squat. That's squat.
I
Oh my! You know
don't
what?
think.
I feel like that. I feel like
Listen,
Atwood is
I'm gonna love to be wrong. I think he should have
Atwood is
stayed
still
there.
Atwood.
He should have
Somebody
stayed there.
listen. When we're done with this, somebody send this to Taylor. Let him know
No,
Atwood's
no,
still
don't worry.
legit.
So this is gonna be what, the 5th time I've been clipped. He already knows. He already knows. Dude, him and Perk were literally going at it in my comments.
Yeah, man. I mean, Perk is. Here's the thing. I mean, Perk is so nasty, man, and I get to see Perk often. So I mean, he's a Texas boy. Perk is so nasty. I mean, there's nothing I can say that can really describe just how
No,
dominant
he is the best lifter right now. He is
he's
the best
the best lifter
lifter.
breathing right now.
Yes.
He's the best lifter
Yes.
breathing right now. And I mean, it's crazy because I love watching the dude lift, man. I love how much he loves lifting. You know what I mean? And I pray that he never loses that fire that he has in him, man, because I feel like he can push to levels that's never been pushed before.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna sit here and act like Atwood didn't crawl, drag, scrape so that Perk could run. You know what I mean? Like, dude, Atwood brought eyes to it sub 83 lifting that no one else had ever brought eyes to. You know what I mean? And here's the thing, like the fact that we're such a what have you done for me lately type sport that we just forget like how dominant dude was. And some of the meets and some of the totals he put up, they weren't him redlining at all. You know what I mean? So that's the crazy part about Atwood, dude. That dude is super nasty. And it's hard because I've we did a couple of bench only meets, man, and so I've lifted right next to him, dude, and he's just a different he's a different beast, man. And I mean I liken Atwood to a Bryce Lewis. Like it's one thing, when you watch him lift, like individually or whatever, not against competition, but if you stack somebody against them, they're a different type of competitors. You know what I mean? And I mean, yeah, he's right. I mean, Perk is 0-2 against Atwood. But let's be fair. The Perk that lifted against Atwood when he was 0-2 is way different than the Perk now. Like Perk the boy versus Perk the grown man are two different things. But would I like to see a Perk versus Atwood? Absolutely. It would be probably the one and only time that no one cares about what goes on in the 83 and above. Let's be honest. No one would care what goes on in anything other than Perk versus
no
Atwood.
one's gonna care because of how everything's gonna shake out. I mean, you're gonna have a battle at 93, but like 105, I assume it's just gonna be Ashton again.
Nah, you got a couple. You got a couple more. And
That's Jawan Garrison. Is he gonna? No, he's not gonna stay.
I will say this, and you can quote me on this, clip me on this, whatever. If Mikey Davis gets 100%, it's a wrap.
Wow.
Mikey is not. People forget how good Mikey is, and that's not just because I like Mikey. I think Mikey is insane, but I'm telling you right now, if Mikey ever gets 100%, it's a way different ball game. Ashton's cold, dude. Ashton is cold as
Ashton's probably done. Ashton's going. He'll do Sheffield, and then I think he said he's not going to do Nats. He's going to do World Games, then he's going to be done.
Yeah, like I want to see 100% Mikey versus Ashton, because I'm telling you right now, man, it's not gonna be as big of a gap as people think, dude. I wish. I mean, Mikey's healing up, you know what I mean, and I hope and pray that people get to see the Mikey that I know. I'm hoping they get to see Mikey at 100% because that dude is super different. He is super different. different. I just, I don't. I still think people are going to really care what goes on in the 83. If there's a Perk versus
The
Atwood,
83, people aren't going to care about the
nobody
83.
cares what. Listen,
The 83 is going to be crazy this year. That's all anyone's
don't
talking about.
care. I don't care. I don't
You
care about
don't
anything that
care.
goes on.
You got Joe
If Perk and Atwood go at it, I don't care what's going on. Anything else, the rest of the world, I don't care. I do not care.
Perk's not going to do Nats. There's no
I
reason.
know, but I said if we're talking ifs.
Yeah.
If Perk and Atwood would go at it, it's a wrap. Like no one cares about what else goes on.
That would be entertaining.
I mean, that would be, man.
No. All right, I've got to wrap up here. This was actually so good. We just kept going and going.
Going. No, Joe Burns. Yeah, Joe B, Taylor, Sean, Russ, Delaney, Angelo, Crispy. Nah, if it's Atwood versus Perk, you're gonna tell me that you care about anything else that goes on in Nash? I don't.
Well, no, Joey B, and Perk would be the real.
Yeah.
Right now.
Let's be honest. Joey B, Perk, and Atwood. What? No one cares about what goes on else in the world. I'm saying all eyes will be on the 74s. If I'm lying, I'm flying, and I don't see any wings right now. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But no, it's gonna be. This is gonna be probably the most entertaining Nash that we've had ever in PA. Do I plan on being in there acting a freaking donkey? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Am I gonna be having my lion's share of the laughs? Absolutely. Does it need to be the premier event in all powerlifting? Absolutely. This might be this has the potential to be the one of the best nationals and one of the most watched nationals. I really hope it's something. And so I feel like as a board, we definitely need to do our job to make sure that, we try to get as many eyes on it as possible. As meet directors, you and myself, we need to make sure we keep spreading the word. I do hope in the very near future that we can figure out some way that, that a lot of well-respected meet directors can kind of chime in on how some of our big meets are run. I feel like a meet directing council would be an amazing thing to have.
You're going to get it whether you like it or not. I mean, we're going to have our own. I mean, I mean, the meet. We don't need a union, but like meet directors are the franchisees of powerlifting. So I mean, we need to be represented in our not even just in our the things that matter to us.
Yeah.
Right. Because those are the things that matter. Like, how do we make sure meets are selling out? How do we make sure that the rule book reflects what's going on currently?
Yeah.
How do we make sure that when I say that, I mean the rule book's got some antiquated rules.
Yeah.
And they can make new lifters uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And that hurts local meet directors. And if you're on the board and you're not a meet director, you probably don't understand that.
Yeah.
Meet directors do need to be represented.
Article 14.
What'd you say?
Article 14.
Oh, so I don't give a fuck about Article 14.
There's so many that for some reason it popped up to me when we was talking about rule book and everything else. But that's definitely something that I feel that needs to be addressed a lot more.
I just don't see it as I don't see it as a top 10. I don't even see it as a top 15 issue.
Oh, it was a big issue in all the surveys.
Yes, but it doesn't actually. I don't see it affecting the play on the field. It affects some coaches. And listen, the people who are mad about it are going to be the loudest. Of course, if you're a coach, you're going to be the loudest about it. But it's like, you're a Powerlifting America member. The rule is beneficial to Powerlifting America. Sorry, I said that out loud. It does benefit Powerlifting America. It may be a shitty rule, but if you're a member, it kind of helps because guess what? Coaches are bringing their entire rosters over.
Yep.
Because of it. And it's what'd you say?
I said guilty as charged.
Yeah, no. And is it shitty? Absolutely. But I just think I'd rather see there's bigger issues that I'd like to see addressed before we start knocking down a rule that actually kind of helps.
Yeah.
You know what I'd rather see if I was the God King of powerlifting? I would say everyone who makes the world team, you have to sign a contract.
Yeah.
And if you leave, and if you don't compete, if you leave and you want to compete elsewhere, you're suspended for 2 years. That's fine because you're getting something, and they should get some compensation in exchange. I would like to see the coaching provision maybe go away. But the problem is that you either support Powerlifting America or you don't. Like, I think you kind of, I know no one wants to pick sides, but dude, like,
Yeah.
if you're supporting the meet down the street and the USAPL side, we're not getting drug testing fees. We're not getting membership fees. We can't build bigger, better nationals.
Yeah.
So like I kind of like, I know it's like I'm like Scrooge telling people that, but it's like, I you got to support the gal you chose to dance with, you know?
Yeah. We said, why are you wearing the same clothes 2 days in a row?
I'm just wearing a hoodie, bro. Is it the same hoodie I wear? I do wear the same hoodie every day. I wear it to work. I got kicked out of PA because my bowling league is untested. Yeah, so that is a serious problem. The lack of clarity with the rule, that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
I need to know exactly what I can and can't do.
Exactly, and that's why we need the little lady to hop on and be like, hey, this is what's going on, because you know she's gonna give it to you straight. This is what we mean.
She don't know. She doesn't even know. No one knows. They make it
That
up.
Article 14,
They make that shit up.
It's that's IPF thing, dude. You got to talk to Gaston and his people.
Bro, they make that shit up. They go, do we want this? Do we want this lifter? Do we want them in the federation? Yes, we do. No Article 14. Oh,
hey,
you said bad things? No,
you gotta
no.
talk. You gotta talk to the big man. Like, you gotta talk to the big man. And I'll tell you right now,
bro, he don't know.
If we ever become completely recognized by the Olympics, actually become an Olympic sport, you already know it's a wrap.
He's the first one to go. He's the first one to go. Nike sponsors. They go, who the fuck is this guy? They go,
Big G ain't going nowhere, boy. Big G's staying.
We didn't land on the moon. We never landed on the moon.
Listen, Gaston's not going anywhere. That's the Gaston the goat, boy. I'm telling you, that guy is hilarious. I love him. Yeah. All right, man. Well, listen.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Absolutely, dude. I appreciate it. Everybody that watched everything, that's commented, I appreciate you guys. Like we just started talking and we just took you guys along for the ride. I don't apologize for it.
Yeah, next time I'm gonna block out 3 hours so I can.
Yeah, okay, it'll be a quick, y'all. It'll be a quick one. All right, sure. Do you know how much we talk? Okay, cool. But yeah, man, I appreciate you, boss. As always, man. I mean, more continued success. Thank you guys for watching.
Yep, make sure you follow us. Peace. Thank you, guys.